What's going on? All right, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us here on CAG Chat. I am joined by my co-host, Levon Reedy Thomas, and also Tanya Wingfield, and Donna Goodman will be joining us later. Unfortunately, Derek won't be here tonight. He's in travel mode, but it's good to be back, and it's a pleasure to have my CAG team with me. And what I want to say is tonight, this week on CAG Chat, we're going to be exposing the truth behind the political spin in Prince George's County. Nonprofits that serve the entire county um, just had their funding ripped away under the guise of equity, while politically connected organizations got rewarded. The MGM Casino was supposed to bring jobs, boost our schools, and uplift the community, but years later, the promises still haven't materialized. And thanks to Trim, the county's tax cap law, we're stuck trying to fund essential services with one hand tied behind our back. Overburdened residents are asking, where's the money and who's really benefiting? Tune in as we go over some of these topics. And I just want to go ahead and give our disclaimer. CAG Chat provides expert analysis and discussions based on facts and research. However, we are not attorneys and nothing shared should be considered legal advice. For legal matters, please consult a qualified attorney. And so to start off, to kick it off with, I want to go ahead and toss it over to Levon, who's going to open with the open mic.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back, Sherman. He already quit on us, y'all. In the pre-show, he quit already. But we know he won't quit because he loves Prince George's County and the Prince Georgians. So tonight, our open mic is going to be a little bit quicker because we do have an action-packed conversation planned for you all and some updates. But there's some other hot button issues that we want to draw your attention to. So there's been this buzz about a 495 toll lanes being added in Prince George's County, but there's a little, I've been trying to catch up on it because I'm not against a toll lane because you can choose to be in it to pay or not, or ride for free in the other lanes. But in doing some background work, I saw that there have been some conversations had in Oxon Hill, Fort Washington community, because they're the ones that's going to be more impacted. So what I've gathered is that the toll lanes are coming out of Virginia and crossing over the Wilson Bridge into an already congested area of the Beltway and Route 210. And so residents, Delegate Jamila Woods of District 26 hosted a conversation already about this. And on June 4th, there will be a hearing at 6 p.m. at Oxon Hill High School. I got an email from Tamara Davis Brown, who's very active. And but in her email, and I'll make sure we post this information on our Facebook page, or go follow Tamara Davis Brown on any of the social media. This hearing, it says, the VDOT public hearing will not be a time to complain, but to provide alternatives to toll lanes. They're asking you to come early. There is I don't see a link for registration. There is some VDOT toll lane proposal available, and there's going to be an open house with a presentation. And during the open house, you can ask individual questions, but you cannot questions will not be answered during the hearing. So if you have ideas or suggestions, get in touch with District 26 Delegate Jamila Woods, Tamara Davis Brown, or hit the link that we'll put up on our Facebook page later on. And so, yeah, there's nothing coming. The way I first read it was that it was coming through Prince George's County. It seems it's just coming into Prince George's County from Virginia. And from all that I read, the state delegates and community leaders are a bit perturbed because they have not been included in the discussion. So they're just kind of, it seems to me like it was like well, I guess it's time to bring Prince George's into the conversation. And they weren't expecting all of this objection. So, we'll keep you posted and you all stay connected to that. So, Tanya, that's probably something that you really want to be paying attention to since you live on that end of.
I'm just trying to figure out where's it going to go after that, but okay.
That's right. That's what they're saying. Like all that traffic is going to come into that part of the county. So
right.
That's hopefully we can get either Tamara or Delegate Woods on soon to talk about that. I think we have a meeting. I don't know if we meet before that, but we can definitely get them on after that. The next hot button conversation that's been happening in Prince George's County, or rather the state of Maryland, has been and has gained national attention is that Governor Moore vetoed the reparations bill that was put forth by the Black Caucus of Maryland. And if you want to follow this matter, you can go to Black Caucus MD on Instagram to follow anything that's happening with our Black legislators for the state of Maryland. And they've prepared a slideshow with their statement. It was quite long. I will not read all of, I think it's like 6 slides, so I won't read all of them. But I will read the very first one, and then I'll give you all another reference point. And this is another topic that we will have a future conversation on about. So the statement says, at a time when the White House and Congress are actively targeting Black communities, dismantling diversity initiatives and using harmful coded language, Governor Moore had a chance to show the country and the world that here in Maryland, we boldly and courageously recognize our painful history and the urgent need to address it. Instead, the state's first Black governor and the only Black governor in the country, right, y'all? Chose to block the historic legislation that would have moved the state towards directly repairing the harm of enslavement. And so you can go online and find the governor's statement. The reason why I didn't really want to get into his statement is because there's been a lot of conversation, especially since 2020, about reparations. And we see corporations backpedaling on the things that they put into place with police reform and business opportunities. Target backpedaled on their DEI programming to support Black or minority businesses. And we know that boycott is having great impact on Target's bottom line. And so it's just kind of coming off as tone deaf. He said we couldn't afford to have this commission because the recommendation was for a commission. And as was said in Roland Martin's podcast, he has a news show on YouTube called Roland Martin Unfiltered, and we put that on the CAG page on Facebook. And I challenge you all to take the time to listen to it because he had like 3 or 4 guests who all had very different perspectives about their opinion. And I found them all to be valid arguments. But at the end of it all, one of the guests made the comment that I've made. Have you ever seen policy be successful without a commission, without a study? And if I am understanding commissions well, a commission kind of protects the effort so that no matter who sits in office, the commission can continue to do its work. And so if you look at it in the sense that in, 2 years, let's just say hypothetically, Mr. Moore, Governor Moore, did not return as our governor, we would get another governor who may say, I'm not worried about systemic racism and opportunities, so I don't want to do all of these things that you say you've put into place. And so we become victims of politics again. And so commissions kind of give us legal growth and standing and opportunity. So I'm intrigued. I hope you guys will follow this as well. Senator Ron Watson also had a very strong statement that he stands with Governor Moore. So you can go to his Facebook page to hear his statement. And then the last thing I have to say, because I know somebody watching a clock, is that we have posted for our CAG followers to give us their books that they're reading or something they wanted to recommend. And y'all ain't really up on it. I'm gonna need you to get in the comments and I'll post it again and tell us what you're reading, because I got a whole stack of books over here by me that we all need to be reading. So let's get ready to get our heads filled with a lot of knowledge so that we can get out here in these streets and get some good governance.
Awesome. I'm good. Thank you so much. And Don, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us as well. Good evening. You wouldn't notice the letter unless you were one of the ones who got it. No announcement, no press conference, just a quiet dismissal. This decision was not made lightly and no way reflects the quality of merit of your proposal. Then came the reason. Due to the broader need to reassess programmatic alignment and fiscal commitments, programmatic alignment sounds official, sounds strategic, but what does it actually mean? And I ask. I emailed the county administrator directly, and their response, we will respond when time permits.
Permits, yeah.
And days later, still no definition. But when you look at who got cut, the picture becomes crystal clear. The Capital Area Food Bank, CASA, Red Cross, Hope Connections, Eco City Farms, Evolving Corporations, Fairmont Heights Football, Jacob's Ladder. And those aren't the only ones. These aren't paper nonprofits. They're institutions, lifelines, anchors in communities across this county. So what happened? Council Chair Edward Burrows said this wasn't political. But I actually want to let you hear it from the horse's mouth.
I understand that some of the decisions that were made have prompted frustration, confusion, and what my colleagues asked me to do was ensure that we had a more equitable distribution of funding.
What I want to make is very clear, as this situation was held as equitably and as fair and as unbiased as it possibly could.
Chair Burrows, but I applaud your decision because you did it in equity.
I won't politicize this fund.
And I'm sorry that you've been used as a tool.
What does that mean in practice? That means that if you live in District 8 and you are a senior citizen and you need rental assistance, I have no money to support you. That's what that means. If you are a youth leadership group in my district that's working to save our young Black and brown boys, that means that all of your funding for field trips was cut.
But in my district, I have children dying. That's a reality in District 7. I can't speak for other districts. I have senior citizens, a list, 4 pages in one building of evictions.
The value of children and seniors and programs in one part of the county is not superior than any other part of the county.
And there are children dying all across Prince George's County, not just in District 7, not just in District 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Right. And just to say it, just to say it. But go ahead.
And no problem. So Council Chair Edward Burrows said this wasn't political. He said it was equity, that some districts got too much and others like his got too little. So he corrected that. He rebalanced the scales. Councilwoman Crystal Arrieta invoked tragedy. She said the children are dying. She said this funding shift was about life and death A child buried just last month. It's moving. It's urgent. It's powerful. And Councilwoman Waller-Blagay called it painful but necessary, an act of fairness, a course correction. Okay, let's test that. Eco City Farms. They grow food in red line neighborhoods. They rewrote zoning laws to make it legal to farm inside the Beltway. They built the Food Equity Council. And they also have a location in Councilwoman Blagay's district. Cut. $75,000 gone. Evolve Incorporated does youth therapy, provides winter coats, backpacks, free football camps. They even fixed a public high school's weight room. They've held events in Borough's own district. Cut. $45,000 erased. Fairmont Heights Football Alumni Association. Fairmont Heights is a Title I school, and they wanted this $5,000 grant, just a measly $5,000 to feed the players before the games, because we know they have issues with being provided food at home. No support. And Jacob's Ladder in Borough's own district does juvenile reentry, trade careers, diversion programs, exactly the kind of work that he claims to champion. Cut. $35,000. I'm sorry, $30,000 stripped. So again, what they said and what they did doesn't match. And now let's talk about Jones House, a friend of Burroughs. On paper, it's based in Suitland. In practice, it's a residential rental property owned by the CEO. There's no sign, there's no schedule, no trace of programming.
Are they in good standing yet? Are they in good standing yet?
Or is it just a zip code on a grant application? I don't know if they're in good standing.
Well, they weren't in good standing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a lot of things we don't know, but what we do know is this. The orgs with history, structure, and reach, cut. So no, this wasn't about alignment. It was about allegiance. It wasn't about who was underserved. It was about who was unaligned. It wasn't about justice. It was about control. And let me be absolutely clear. They didn't balance the scales. They tipped them. They didn't uplift equity. They hijacked it. And what they said, what they did, and what they hope you won't ask, we're asking anyway. And on that note, I just want to say thank you so much to our guests that we have joined here tonight. We have brought on Senita Hill with Peace on Patuxent, Latasha Ward with a Solid Foundation, and also Latasha Carpenter, who is an activist in Prince George's County. And we want to talk about some of the things you all have going on with your nonprofits. These are members of the community whose grants were rescinded as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for having us here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having us. Yes.
Yes. And Ms. Senita, I want to start with you because you actually were one of the individuals who spoke out at the council with regards to the funds being taken away. You also were very dismayed at your experience there as well. Can you run me by your thoughts on that day? Going into there, what were your hopes and expectations?
Well, first, let me say thank you, Mr. Hardy, for inviting me to be able to speak on this platform and to speak about our organization as well as the impacts that this rescission has had on us. When we got the invite to attend the press conference, I and my team, we understood that it was just a press conference really to bring awareness to the fact that the grants had been rescinded. Not that I understand rescinding a grant. However, the grant was rescinded it was awarded last year. So we were coming to just bring light and awareness to that. We understood that Councilman Burroughs and others we may see them during the day, but it was really just to bring light to it and to really speak up for our organizations.
Mm-hmm. And can you can you give me a little bit of information about your organization?
I sure can.
First of all, wait, do you serve Prince George's County or just the Northern District?
Let me just, thank you for asking that, and I'll tell you. I am the Chief Executive Officer for Peace on Patuxent. We are a nonprofit respite home and day retreat for women battling life-leveling cancers. And that means that if a woman is diagnosed with cancer or 2 years post-diagnosis, she can come to the property and stay for 2 days or to just decompress at no cost, or she can come and sit in the gardens for a day and still be a part of the community of women that are there to decompress. It may be by way of yoga, it may be by way of just centering. There is some type of activity that will occur that allows these women to come together to understand, commune, and just sometimes just cry. It's just a healing place for them. It cuts the strings between the doctors and family and allows the woman to be just the queen that she is and that she was before being diagnosed. If she's accepted to the property, if she's accepted into the program or to come for 2 days for an overnight stay, we pick them up. We provide transportation, not Uber. We provide a limousine service that will pick them up. We procure a limousine service that will pick them up from door to door. And then when they're delivered to us, we receive them with a red carpet as queens. And then we provide lunch, breakfast, and we allow them to go out into the community, come together. Everything that we provide, that food, the healing, that is all at no cost. And no, we're in District 1 of PG County, but we service the state of Maryland. Not only the state of Maryland, we service Prince George's, we service the state of Maryland, DC, and Virginia. We are here for all women, and it is about providing equity to women. I am in the northern part of the northern part of Maryland, please forgive me. I'm northern part of Maryland, but I understand the disparities of the women south of the Beltway. As I think I shared with you, I am a fifth generation Prince Georgian. So I understand the whole map of PG. I also understand Maryland, and I understand where we fall on the lines. Just because the property is in Laurel doesn't mean that we don't reach across to the woman over in Baltimore, North Baltimore, or South Baltimore to pick her up. She is entitled and deserves the same treatment that women in Annapolis get, the same treatment that the women in Columbia get. But if you don't have transportation, that woman doesn't have transportation, what she's going to get, a woman coming south of Prince George's County or DC or one of those neighborhoods, she's not going to get any of those services. So that's what we do here at Peace on Patuxent.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Latasha, thank you so much for joining us. And can you give us a little introduction about yourself and your organization, the
Okay.
Solid Foundation?
You want Latasha Ward or Latasha Carpenter?
I'm sorry,
That is
Ward.
both of them. I'm messing with you.
The Solid Foundation.
All right. Yeah. So my name is Latasha Ward. I'm the executive director for the Solid Foundation. The program was started March 25th of 2020, a community-based program that uplifts, educates, and empowers men and women that return back home. The program was set up to be able to help returning citizens as well as their families. So even when the father or the mother is away, we give gifts and things for that particular family so that that child know that they are loved, and that we make sure that they have that support during Christmas time. We've do the girls the Queen event. Every lot of programs focus on young boys, but our girls, if it's a boy getting in trouble, a girl is somewhere around. So we figure if we can strengthen the female, maybe she could, say no, not like how with Adam and Eve, but she can at least say no to some things and be able to walk away, to be able to, to keep that guy out of trouble. So we work a lot with the females. We've done events because teenagers, they date.
And are your events in Prince George's County, or are they in one particular district, or
no, well,
how does?
No, but mostly we service the whole Prince George's County. Mostly all of our work is in District 7 and District 8. In those particular areas. My nonprofit is located in District 6. And Councilmember Walla Gaze district. But we service everybody. We just took 45 women, domestic violence survivors, on a trip. And some people say, hey, is that a good way of using our tax dollars? But what I could say that our county didn't pay for that. So, I do have a business. I have other people that have money or whatever the case may be that was willing, basically to pay to sow into these women that needed that experience. So we do a lot of different things that might not be traditional, helping somebody to start up a business, versus, hey, getting a person to go at their job that might not pay them for what they worth. A lot of times people that get locked up, they have skills they were able to do while they was locked up, but a lot of times people won't give them the opportunity. So what we've done is help them to start up businesses or either get different certifications that still, if they working with somebody, they still kind of independent because they running the show. They the one certified. So,
Yeah,
but at once upon a time, we didn't have any services for returning citizens. I learned that
absolutely
when I
correct.
campaigned and I knocked doors, and
Mhm.
many of the men said,
That's
hey,
how we actually met when at the Aisha Brave Boys community in the courtroom, and
right,
that was something I brought up, and you were passionate about it as well.
yes, yes.
It's funny that is, yeah, it's been a while,
Yes.
but yeah. So I do know that you have a passion for that, and you wanted resources because we started with the website of the county, and we saw that there was nothing there, no,
It, it,
um,
it was stuff there, Sherman, but those were
it was
just shell
old.
programs. It was all just smokescreen. They weren't real programs.
Mm-hmm.
I had the
Hmm.
opportunity in 2020 to be a part of Reentry Advisory Board.
Hmm.
Once upon a time, we had zero funding
Yep.
the baby the service returning citizens. So I understood why they wanted to go to DC. People want help.
Right.
So
Hmm.
people talk about, hey, I care about my community. But if you're not supplying people with the things they need, our crime is definitely gonna go up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People, it's in survival mode. People don't want to
Mhm.
sit and still and do those things. But if you're not giving people opportunity and the service that they need, they're gonna steal. They're gonna do what they need
Right.
to do to take care of their family. So if people
Absolutely.
talk about wanting people to be safe, you can't sit up there and take money funding from 54 organizations that was making an impact.
Mhm.
Um, and I've been involved with the political arena, I guess, since 2010. And often you hear the reason why people want to run. I want to serve the people. I want to be fair.
Mhm.
But half the people that's working and serving people, they can't even get along. How can
Yeah.
we get anything done in our county if people can't move past that? I don't like you, but I have to be to respect your work. I
Mhm.
have to be to respect what you're doing. But people devalue one another, and it almost make a mockery. Almost, I love Prince George's County, but I hate to see how our people conduct business. It's not
Mhm.
good,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
especially the amount of money that we give them to oversee on our behalf.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not afraid to say, and I'm not afraid of anybody, but I believe that our state representatives, they need to stop giving them money if they don't know how to handle the money. You can't sit up there and approve somebody. I was approved back in October, and some of my friends was approved back in the same time, but they got their money before 2025 came. Um, I don't understand how can you be approved and then and in April I got a letter from the council grants that, hey, you're missing a signature. Hey, we need your EZ 990. How was I approved in the first place if I didn't have all my paperwork together?
Right.
Yeah.
Then all of a
And
sudden I got something about 2021. I guess when Rodney Street was in office, he gave me a $7,500, was a $7,500 grant or something like that. And then I got $1,000, whatever, from Jolene Ivy. But they saying that they didn't have that documentation. Then it came another one, a while ago, but Council 6 gave me $6,000 and they didn't have that. So it's like, you didn't file it. How did I get something in 2022, 2023, 2024 if I didn't have my stuff together?
Right.
I understand the part about when people say, hey, Tasha, in 2020, you couldn't get $100,000 or $500,000. But I saw in 2023, the same organization that you talk about, Jones House, they received $100,000 and they just formulated.
in
You can
2023.
look at Maryland. This isn't, it's documentation, beginning conversation. They
Hmm.
formulated their organization
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
on April 21st of 2023.
Yeah.
How could this happen that this
Yeah.
organization with no track record, no footprint in our county receive
Mm-hmm.
$100,000?
And they started off receiving the project charges because that was a huge debate. And I know we're talking about all forms of funding, but that was another fallacy that was introduced into the argument. At the council hearing, they said, they brought up those project charges, but as we see, they were audited because we had never paid out that massive amount of money. They got $14 million.
No.
And
Can I say Natasha brings up a excellent point because again, if we look at when Mr. Burrows got on the council in 2022, and if you look at the number of LLCs and nonprofits that just popped up all of a sudden, and then and I know there's different pots of this nonprofit money, but one of the pots that was instrumental in changing was CB 099 of 2022. So all of those things were dynamics went into play after Mr.
Councilman
Burrows got
Burrows.
on the council, and then the oh Lord, I was going to say other MAGA people. I'm sorry, but the other progressives joined on, and after that you start seeing money because I think Jones House is one of the organizations that was part of the over $300,000 in scholarships that were given. And I don't understand because they're
Yes.
not in good standing with Maryland.
Yes, they're doing the scholarships, they're doing the grass cutting, and also the Jays Agnew cameras.
Right.
But Latasha Carpenter, thank you so much for joining us as well. And I want to get you in here because you had a lot to say on social media because I saw how upset you were. And you did some facts and figures on your own, but you care to contribute whatever you can to the conversation. How does this make you feel? What's going through your head?
Well, my whole thing is that, as I said in my post, I'm not here about one side or another side. I don't have any kind of favoritism when it comes to it. I'm a union person, been a union person a long time, elected by my members because I'm always about being straightforward with them in private and calling out things that are wrong, whether it's the management side or the union side. So there's no different when it comes to these people who are put into these seats in the council. Um, my thoughts are that we've heard people over and over again say, okay, well, I hear you guys talking about, well, the Barrels organization is doing all of this. Okay, well, what was the organizations prior to that doing? And what I've heard on all of them is that, well, we called it out. It didn't change. Even during that, I didn't even watch that council meeting right there. And somebody didn't like that that I didn't watch it, but it's okay because I didn't need to hear the foolishness on there. But when you say that we complained about Jolene, or we complained about the person before that, and Jolene complained about the person before that. What they need to stop doing is, they say, don't just see it, call it out. But I'm gonna say, don't just call it out, change it. I believe that some policies need to be put in place where that no matter who is sitting in those seats, what friends they like, they don't like, whether they could be impartial, whether they could be objective or subjective, these are the rules. Bottom line, is not no way of getting around it. So the focus needs to be more on these are the rules. And I'm upset because, like I said, if somebody's been approved, and even if you want to do the petty crap that's going on right now, yes, I said it was petty. It, fix it going forward. If you want to show your favoritism to your friends or whatever, and then everybody else been doing it, you've been watching people doing that because I had a Miss Jonna Parker or whatever her name is who came into my inbox and questioned me, one about putting up my post, two about not watching the council hearing themselves, and three about you're taking this information off of a not official document that supposedly the council has circulated with information on it. Now, not at one time did she tell me that she's one of the recipients on on the spreadsheet. I didn't know who she was, right? But if you're going to come in and you're going to question me about how are you going to take figures from an unofficial document, as she said, and put out facts on your post when it's an unofficial document. Had I known she was one of the people on there, I would say, well, how about let's see, is your line official? Is this what you got?
Right.
What you receive? I think
Right.
Did you apply? Did you get 300,000? Whatever it was, I would have to go back and look at the spreadsheet. Did you get
510,000 is
But
the
then they
line
gave,
item.
but then they gave,
Mhm.
did you apply for 300,000 but got granted 510,000? See, is you look at the column that says what they applied for. Now, when we look at Solid Foundation, it says that they requested 40,000 but
Mhm.
got 20,000. Is that there? So whether it's an official document or not, the facts are the facts. And please don't confuse.
So they are under a shell, and they requested $200,000. Councilwoman Ivy gave zero, and they received 510 under Councilman Burrows.
Yes, those are the numbers under a shell, a company that's in California that's not even
Right,
here, that
right.
Right, not even
you can't even police.
right, not even in Prince George's County. And there
Yeah.
has to be a benefit to that foundation for being a fiscal sponsor. They're
Hmm.
not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So
Yeah,
then
they
my
get a percentage.
question becomes, how much money are they getting of the $510,000 while we're talking about what's good for Prince George's County?
I mean, that's a legitimate question, right? But we don't have the answers. But what I will tell you guys, for those who were impressed with my post and the information, okay, your girl Tasha, I used to get A's in school in math, but that was a long time ago, 1989, graduated from Crosson High School. I don't have those skills anymore. But everybody know about AI, okay? All you got to do is take the spreadsheet, look for your facts, stop listening to what other people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Take the spreadsheet, put it in the AI, ask it the questions, it gives you the information. How many people, who were the top four before they rescinded it? It was Ivy with 34 grants, $1,027,000. And hold on that unofficial spreadsheet, there's some things accredited underneath of her that's not even in her district. So, those numbers, I didn't get to notice that after. So those numbers may be a little bit off there. But then you look at Barrows, he has 10 grants. Ivy had 34 grants. He has 10 grants with $942,000 before then. Crystal, 5 grants at $740,000. Watson, 12 grants at $581,000. And the final outcome, Watson is still the same. He's still number 4. Nothing changed. However, when you look at Crystal, and I had to print it out again while y'all were talking here. If you look at Barrows, he goes from $942,000 to $1,888,000.
Wow, he
Wow.
doubled.
Now, wait a minute. And this is in addition to the impact money that they just gave him from
Yes,
MGM,
Oh,
yes.
the
which is
MPF
supposed to be used for mental health, which he's using to pay to cut people lawns and some other stuff. Oh,
Yeah. And
interesting.
and I just want to make sure that our viewers who are watching truly understand what we are trying to tell you right now. Although the lips are telling you that we're trying to help our district, what we're doing is lining our pockets with the organizations that we created, that we continually to fund, to say that we're doing something in our community.
Right.
And this isn't a beat down on the council person session, but it's just to inform Prince Georgians on what's actually taking place. Because there's what's being said versus what's being done. And there is, like they say, a this for that.
Right.
Trust and believe that that is what's going on, because these organizations have more than doubled their financing for the council members that
Mm-hmm.
were in charge of these organizations, more than doubled from what they actually requested. And
Right.
I just want to go ahead and let you all know, since I have you, then
Well,
I'll pass it over to my host so they can ask some of the questions. I
Sherman,
just
look, can I ask a real quick question
Sure.
first? If we could make sure that our listeners understand where this money is coming from.
Oh,
That
taxpayer
this is,
dollars,
yeah. Thank you. So y'all have to understand these are
pork
our
barrel.
taxpayer dollars, and remember, our dollars, the majority of our tax dollars go into the general fund. Well, it used to be go into the general fund to pay our bills.
Yeah.
We are now using this, our elected officials are now taking this money and putting it in and this is something like what they did with the school board. So it lets you know the people who carried this on over to the council. They put it in what we call unrestricted categories. And therefore, they can take our tax dollars and use them as they please. While remember, guys, we're still over $200 million in debt, not paying our debt down. No plan has come forth to us to tell us how we're going to pay this debt down.
And I want to pass it over to you all so you because I know you had questions from several of the guests. But before we do it, I just want to read a couple of lines from the Excel spreadsheet that was sent over to me about some of the organizations that were funded over the amount double versus some of the organizations who are providing peace on the Patuxent. Because I love peace, peace that passes all understanding. So our organization, this is the PG Changemakers under the Edward Charles Foundation. Is that what it is? But it says our organization will use the proposed fundings to focus on addressing the communities of District 7, specifically the seniors and youth, by providing direct aid for projects related to health and wellness, LGBTQIA, senior living, lifting up girls in sports, and general aid, as well as other community events to include but not limited to, and this sounds like prescription drug stuff, teacher appreciation, resupplying schools with direct resources, and offering of community service. Learning hours to our youth are vital to our community during this time and in the future.
Well, let me just say something really quick. First of all, the school system has policies as to monies that can come in through outside sources so you don't create inequities in the school system. So I see we're just toss that out the window. That's not being adhered to.
And then they're also using it for universal basic income as well.
Well,
for their districts.
Yeah, and remember now, the universal basic income, when they did that as a pilot program, they were supposed to find a funding source
They
for
found
it. Not our tax dollars. It wasn't supposed to be our tax dollars.
You didn't tell them where to find it. They found it.
Well, let's make sure y'all understand. And you better understand also, this is the same program that has California in a $3 billion deficit, or has contributed to it, where people are now leaving California in droves because the only way to end up paying for it is taxing your people, the same people over and over and over again. So y'all need to understand, while they smile with these nice photo, they do the great photo ops. Well, you're getting all these great photo ops and the nice blue suits and the arms crossed and the nice smile. You are being robbed. Your pockets are being picked over and over again because we don't have many funding streams. Yeah. So we've already had the U.S. rating downgraded, the state downgraded, and we're still sitting up here with a $200 million deficit, and nobody in elected position telling us how they're going to pay that down. We're next.
LaVon, I see that you want to make a statement as well.
Yes. Question either for Miss Senita or Latasha. Either one of you can ask, can you please tell us what the process was for you applying to get this money? Because over the years, there have been different iterations. And as YGT says, we just need to have a structured process. So can you, either one of you, share how you came to know about the grant?
Because I saw you shaking your head.
What the process was.
All right, you want to go first? Okay.
Yeah, Miss Hill, because I also you two, Latasha Ward and Miss Senita, you both were shaking your head when Latasha was talking about the hurdles that it took to actually do the application process, and what took you all so long. So can you cover that as well when you speak on it?
Well, we applied last year, and the non-discretionary funds, that is each councilman, as we know, have their own discretionary funds. So I applied with all of them because you have that option to apply, and maybe one of them will give you maybe two. So last year we applied, and I believe the councilwoman also came out to one of our events and incoming. So she came to see what it was that we were doing. as the year progressed, we got a letter from her saying that, or from her office saying that we had been considered for the 2024, I believe, non-discretionary funds, and that, we were set aside for it. So what we did, and not knowing the process, we didn't respond immediately because there is no one to tell you how you should process we didn't get that information. But as time went on, I went through the same process that we went through last year. In April, you submit. And so we got phone calls. We received a couple of phone calls saying, we even received a phone call from the auditor saying, hey, you have this pot of funding sitting over here, and we just want to know if you still qualify for it. Submit your application. Here's your deadline. And we went through all of that. And they, once you're assigned a grants person, a grants contact, which happened to be the auditor, they work with you to make sure that you complete it because they want the nonprofits to be successful. They want us to receive the funding. So that's where we were with that. They were shepherding us through it. As my colleague said, we had overcome all the hurdles to find that the next step, we were expecting the check to come in the mail, to find that the funds had been, there was a rescission by Councilman Burrows and his team. So for me, as a result, what we had to do was pause our overnights. And our funding was slotted for transportation that would help, because that's one of our biggest costs. It would have helped us to bring a woman from South Baltimore. I think we went all the way up to the Delaware border to DC. The Delaware border to bring a woman in. If she applies and she qualifies, she gets to come by way of a limo as well. So that whole program has been halted. We put a pause on it until we can receive more fundings and find a revenue stream that would allow us to bring that in. So currently what we've done is we will proceed with our day retreats on Saturdays a month. So that's been our impact. That's how we processed. That was our process, i.e. the impact of not receiving this and I need to say it was $10,000. It was $10,000 and we serviced the whole county. I did understand, I think, and I don't mean to go on a bit, but I understood the Council Ivy's defense. And like everyone else on this call, I'm not for one party over the other. I'm for peace on Patuxent and trying to make sure that women who have cancer have a place to come and decompress. Right. And they are not forgotten in the system or not neglected because they live in Riverdale or over on Riverside. We're that organization. So I don't care about all that other stuff. And as I say to our delegates, even at the state of Maryland, that is needless for me. What is most important is that really we need to understand, raise the banner that this organization exists in our state, more so in our county. In our county alone, we have reached over 500 people, over 500 women. We've had 60 participants. We have done that single-handedly. However, it would be nice to have your delegates get on board, your councilwomen get on board, to understand that there is a woman, whether it be your mother, your sister, your daughter, whomever, that she matters and she needs a place to come and just decompress while going through cancer.
Because cancer is also the second leading cause of death in Prince George's County.
Thank you. That's where I was headed, but I was going to let Latasha chime in on her application experience.
So far as thank you, for that information, and definitely I'm believing and trusting God that the work that you're doing, that He will, give you whatever you need in order for you to be able to help, those women that are going through, So that's real care. That's real care. That's not a photo op. It's like you being there, when they going through, So I pray to God give you your own limos and a gas station that allow you to fill up. Give a favor. Yeah, but let me say this to you: the non discretionary let's say like when I first started, those were the type of grants that I can get. And just like, you know what, hold up, it had sent, what
Yeah.
said, yeah, I see this. What she said,
Mhm.
you can actually apply for everybody, and because we service the whole Prince George's County, that's what I've always done. The non-departmental, once you get to a certain level and people saying that you're doing work, you have to be invited to be able to apply for that pocket money. Because the first is like, Tasha, you too new or whatever. So I say, hey, I'm just gonna keep on working, and I appreciated the 2,000, the 5,000, or whatever dollars that people threw my way. But that one you had to be able to have an easy 990. So a lot of people, if you're not in good standards, you won't even pass that threshold. Even if you was invited, you're not in good standing, you don't have a charitable number with the state of Maryland, you're not registered with the state of Maryland. It seemed like you had to be a nonprofit registered, far as in Prince George's County, in order to be able to, to get the money. You also had to have a program. They also asked you on the application, what area would you be serving? Would you be working with youth? You had to pick one or the other. So although maybe some programs may work with adults and youth, you had to say, hey, what area you wanted to focus on.
Mhm.
They also wanted
Because
to
these
make sure
funding,
you
you
had
can't use it for everything. It's for a specific
no,
reason, right?
it's for that particular program, and then they wanted to
Mhm.
make sure that you had your own money or whatever to be to continue and carry on,
Mhm.
some some of that work. So they asked those different type of questions. They asked about your board. They asked about your website. So it seemed like you had to have a legitimate EIN number. You had to have a W-9. The business. You had to have a checking account because so they can deposit the money into your account. So they asked for that information. And what else? What else? What else? What else? The Easy 990, you had to do your taxes. You had to file. They had to see that you had to have a profit and loss statement. All that different stuff had to go, with your application. So, even being a startup organization, you wouldn't have been able to produce those documents to get that type of money. Um, so that is a concern of mine. Definitely I believe that we need to be, it need to be a fair process.
Mhm.
If an organization is doing work, they should be
Mhm.
able to say, hey, you gave me 25,000 and I like to be increase my capacity. If you gave me 50,000, I can do X, Y, and Z. But it can't just be out the pie out the sky. I'm gonna give you 100. You get 100,000. You get 50,000 or
Well, that's
whatever
what it seems
thing like
like. That's
that.
the threshold for some of the organizations. And quite frankly, I have never seen, and when I say that, I actually went back and looked at, the funding. I haven't seen anyone get more than really $200,000, really
hmm
more than 100, unless they were some established department or had something going on. $500,000 to an organization that says that they are specifically for District 7, specifically the seniors and youth by providing direct aid for projects related to health and wellness, LGBTQI, senior living, lifting up girls in sports and general aid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I say et cetera because that's literally how this thing reads.
hmm
And why can't this be for the entire county?
I
Because
agree with you. But
seniors living
hello,
all
Sherman.
throughout. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wanted to say something. I work with a lot of different organizations. I
Mhm.
collaborate.
Right.
So Promise Place is dear to me.
Mhm.
Promise Place service children that have been removed from their parents' house. Some of them can be, maybe their lifestyle or whatever, their parents might not agree with them, so they get kicked out. So it can be children between the ages of 14 to 22 living there. They lost their funding. I don't understand that. If you sitting up there saying that you care about the residents of Prince George's County, and those children that more than likely they don't come out of Mitchellville, Bowie, or Upper Marlboro, but they're
Wow.
over in that Beaver Heights area, which that was Jolene Ivy's old area, District 5. How can you take from them?
So
Um,
I was part of the opening of the Promise Place. My one of my friends, actually they were contracted to furnish it, and the actor Jermaine Crawford, who had his claim to fame with The Wire, he does something called Code Blue, which he's moved that effort to California, and it's for homeless youth or unhoused youth. And so he spearheaded a partnership with UCAP to get the Promise Place opened up and all of that. And so to hear that they're not getting any money, that's just devastating, because we opened that on donations and a little and and family services finding grant funding as well. So that was definitely one of those partnerships between the government and the nonprofit and donors. But I do know that there's always been issues with the way, and in full disclosure, I used to do grants and nonprofit liaison for former Executive Baker. So I have a very inside understanding of a lot of the nuances of these things. But I did have the opportunity to, as a consultant, to do a non-D effort in it was for fiscal 2024, I believe. And what they did was they did an open call for organizations to submit a letter of intention or a letter of interest. And I don't think they do that anymore. Did you have to do a letter of interest, or did you go straight to doing an application?
You have to do a letter, and you're invited the Bay to do that, right? So that's why I say all organizations are not, selected. I guess this is like people having good oversight. They've seen your work. They've seen the things that you contribute. People feeding people, your program taking care of women that have cancer. Somebody else can be taking care of, homeless children or whatever, but they witness the work. These are people.
But you were invited to submit.
I was invited to. Yeah, you have to be invited to submit.
Right.
Yes.
So they tried to do it as an open opportunity, and I think it blew up, and too many organizations were applying for it. And like you said, they weren't meeting the criteria of having an established program. The other thing I also want to bring to the conversation as a point of information is every council member gets a what's called a special appropriations grant funds, which was $100,000 per each council member.
Yeah, that's it.
So those are for new organizations. Yep. That's referencing what Latasha was talking about with $2,000, $3,000. Now, so here's my thing. With this $510,000 grant that's specified for District 7, that has bolstered one council member's effort to do outreach over everybody else's. And now I just bring that up because you can't say equity when you now surpassed through one organization everybody else's budget. It doesn't matter how much money was distributed to the other council members. This is just one or two, several organizations through the other council members. Now their own ally, their own person who sat there and talked about what her community wasn't getting, she's now elevated herself up. And so
But you know what? Can I just jump in? Okay, the one of the big things that I see that differentiate what I'm hearing Sen say and what Latasha is saying, they were filling a void of something that wasn't being done.
Yes.
And to hear we're going to give teacher appreciation and we're going to work on LGBTQ matters and things. These are
resupplying schools.
Right. This is all programming that is already this is programming that our local government is designed to do and deliver services that they're designed and deliver. But what
they mentioned was about seniors losing the rent, and there's programs for that. When they talk about electricity, PEPCO has a program for that. For water,
we have those programs right in our county government under the executive branch of our government. And so I want to get to what YGT point was too about the process. Because when we don't have a process in place where we are making sure our branches of government are functioning or not being dysfunctional, then we have the runaway trains that we are seeing right now. organizations that are filling a void that the government is not providing, like what is being done by Sen's group and what is being done by Tasha's group, because we didn't have reentry. Hey, everybody know that's how we lost actor Charles Dutton from Maryland. That's because it didn't exist in Maryland, period. So, and it didn't exist in our county. I have never heard anything about our county doing something focused on women, especially with the number of Black women suffering from breast cancer. Now, haven't heard any of that. So I think a greater point on here, and people, y'all need to understand, our government is not functioning right. And because it's not functioning right, we have these runaway nonprofits where our elected officials are using nonprofits as their private subsidiaries to actually carry out their pet projects as a way as a way to say money is not coming directly to me. It is still, in my opinion, it's still a process of steering. It's still illegal. It's still unethical. You're just doing it through a nonprofit. And what makes it even greater, the greater harm, is that these nonprofits are not accountable to our government. And there's no mechanism in place, which is why we need to be focusing back on where this programming is coming from our executive branch of the government. Give those county people their $100,000 like we used to do in the past. So and let them, divvy that little out. But for the larger programming, it should be attached to a service, a agency within our government that is actually delivering a service to the people.
And the other thing, Tanya, real quick, even with the grant, it should still be going out there and to make sure there's no one else that can do what you do or that's doing what you do, and the money is going to the best area, the best company to do this type of work. It makes no sense. There should be an overview committee that don't have no
political.
The reason why it doesn't make sense is because it's political.
And they did this in the middle of your budget season. That's what's so crazy. Your budget has already been set.
I see you had a question. Your hand was up. I'm sorry, Levon. Miss Senita Hill's hands up.
I agree. This is such a good conversation. Am I still on mute? Or
no, you're on.
Such a great conversation. And one of the things that we would, even for an organization like mine, even if I think there was a couple of things. Miss Ivy talked about having an organization, looking at organizations that service all of PG County, not just one particular area, which I understood. I thought that was fair. I thought it was fair and equitable when you look at that versus one that is just serving. If I'm just serving Laurel, then I should get my funding from just Laurel. But I don't. I service all of PG County. So I understood what she was saying and how she used it. And if you can't, I also felt like there were a couple of things that could have calmed the waters. The council, before making that determination, could have met with us. They could have partnered with Miss Ivy and had a conversation to say, hey, let's talk about, or let's look at yours and make a fair decision, as opposed to just ripping the Band-Aid off, or ripping away the funds. And if you can't give funding, what else can you give? We still need team support. We still need workplace giving. Can the county send a whole truck over here that can help us with our lawn? Can you send some councilwomen that can give back teamwork? Can you give donations? Can you do individual giving through the Maryland charitable giving? That's your paycheck. So there's so many other ways. And if you don't work for the county, can you go out and do corporate? How can you still give to us, give to all of us that you took that pot of funding from? There are other ways that you can give, and then explain it. I think that's where it all should have lied. It should have come out a whole different way. There's so many other ways to do it.
LaVon, I
You're
see you have your
still.
hand up, and I'm gonna call on Latasha
Yes,
Carpenter
ma'am.
after you.
Yeah, I don't know how
Thank
to,
you.
I don't know
When
how to
did
raise my
you
hand.
when did you start your organization? I'm a cancer survivor. As of July 2024, I had a double mastectomy. So, and I know there are cancer services throughout the county, and they are very challenging. But how long have you been doing Patuxent? Peace?
Peace on
Was it
Patuxent.
Patuxent?
Peace on
Peace on
Patuxent.
the
Peace on
Patuxent.
Some protection.
Okay,
I'm
now.
by the riverside.
Now she's gonna ask me, okay, so now let me share about Peace on Patuxent. We did our ribbon cutting last year where Councilman Denoga was here and Council Ivy both showed up. We did our ribbon cutting, but we've been established since 2021. I believe it's 21. And I understand that I can tell you, we have a respite, we have a day retreat in Annapolis. You have a day retreat called Women. It's the Annapolis House in Annapolis. You have one in Columbia, and you have one in Rockville. Neither of those, all of those, first of all, are north the Beltway, and all of those don't look like us. I'm going to say it. They don't have. Very few have. Look at the inequities. The one in Gaithersburg, which is Hope House, and they also were strip funding. Hope House has a office in PG County, but it's never open. You can't get a truck, you can't get transportation to take you up to Gaithersburg, where Hope House just got all the money from the council many years ago and built a brand new house. But they're not taking our women up there. They're not taking the Latino women up there who are suffering from ovarian cancer. They're not even looking at that community, but that's just me and Peace on Patuxent. All I'm saying is we're here to service the state of Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And we gladly take the $10,000. But if you can't give us that, give us other support. How about that?
Wow.
No, that's right.
Latasha
Carpenter.
I'm sorry, I answered your question, Ms. Thomas.
Yeah, you did.
She asked you when you started. Latasha Carpenter, I see you have your hands up in the Latasha Ward afterwards.
Okay, so how about that? I'm with you on that, Senita. How about that? I just want to get back to again, like I said, don't just see it, call it out. Don't just call it out and change it, right? So I'm seeing it, I'm calling it out, and how can you change it? Because what I'm used to is that people just complain and instead of becoming a part of the solution or giving some real process that could be utilized, right? So one thing that could be done to ensure the equity and prevent political type retaliation, which this appears to be, right? Not saying that it is, but it appears to be. That's how some people look at it. They could create a transparent scoring system, right? The scoring system could determine, whether or not what is the basis for approval. Is it on community impact? Is it on the number of residents that it can serve? Is it based on countrywide benefits or countywide benefits or the district benefits? And like what Tasha said with hers is that, do you have the sustainability even to keep the organization going after you don't have these funds? Those are things that people could look at. They could look at establishing an independent board. I was talking to one of the council members, assistant, and that was one thing that they talked about, an independent board to review the situation there. Is there some kind of public justification when it comes to rescinding these grants? Like Senita said, they didn't communicate with anybody. Well, you need to have a meeting. You need to say you're going to do this and then have the public weigh in on whether or not they feel that this is appropriate measure or the way to go about doing it. And then how do you balance countywide versus local funding? They could decide that, we're going to designate that a certain percentage, 30, 40% is going to be for countywide. I keep saying countywide impact, right? You can take and say that. And then that's regardless of where the organization is located, they can get part of that money. And then require collaboration because Tasha talked about how she collaborates with other organizations in order to bring services to people. Well, how about making it that there has to be a collaboration across districts in order to get the larger grant pools to address and share issues with a youth
It's
service,
called request for information.
mental
They
health.
can put a request for information out there. And
Right.
in that, you set criteria. In that evaluation criteria. In that, based on how you intend to support not only Prince George's County, Montgomery County, Baltimore County, Calvert County. You put in that criteria. You get that information. Then from that information, you build the actual solicitation and make sure that people are that they already know and are doing this are invited, but put it out so that there may be other means of helping get that information. You can collaborate with different companies like
that makes sense. But this collaboration also amongst the districts in order to fund the larger organizations where you don't just have senior citizens in one organization that have a high paced bill or something. And then in that case, the ones that don't like each other, if you want to collaborate, then you got to play nice and you got to learn how to work together.
If you want to play in this game, then the larger companies can be required to add small businesses or women owned or something. But this can be done.
All of that.
Done.
We know
they
that.
Don't put it out to the community, because they don't want us to know that they just giving it to Billy Bob and whoever they like.
Let me just say one last thing, Donna and everybody. We all know the acronym for TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more. So when this process is made, that process needs to have checks and balances that make everybody play nice with each other. You don't get to pick your favorites or whatever you want to do, or I didn't like her during this time. She took away from my organization or gave me money, whatever, all that type of stuff. Those processes are a must so that it's not just one-sided. I don't care who's there.
That's the only way to make it fair.
Yeah. I wanted Debate to say something. There was a process in place, y'all. Whether if y'all realize it or not, we had to apply during a certain time. There was a separate body before it even got to the chair, the vice chair. It had to go through the council grant office that they had to review it. They only they don't know any of us. They only send the ones that are qualified. So the ones that didn't get sent weren't qualified. We need a process in place if we're going to give. And I like the idea of just only giving them
Natasha, is that
$100,000.
the process you're using now? Because I remember what you're saying when I was applying for some grants in the county. But is that what you all were doing this time?
Yes, we had to go through that same process. We had to have it in at a certain time. We couldn't just apply for it this year to get last year money. We applied last year was a cutoff time. I received the letter October 24th for 2024 that my organization will be receiving this money. So, hey, I was excited about it. You know, I say God has been good. So I wasn't calling them every day, hey, when I'm going to get it. Maybe I should have, because maybe if I would have got it in 2024, like the other organizations that we saw that did receive the money, they didn't get caught in this windmill, I guess, of trying to figure out who we could take money from. But it should be a process that people can't trump us. I know we're close to the White House, but it definitely felt like it was a Trump move. It's like, hey, I'm in charge. I don't think anybody should have that much power. Not with my tax dollars. I don't believe that anybody should have that much power.
What did they use?
But let me ask you.
To be able to hurt organizations that are helping people. If our state representative, you saying it's our tax dollars, then I'm calling on my state representatives to put something in place that you cannot have a council that can't get along, or a council that's threatening each other. Like, hey, if you don't do what I say, hey, you're not gonna get anything, because we don't need them in office if they can't stand.
But let me ask a question. Now, when once these appropriations are set for these organizations, it becomes a vote by the council, right? In order for it to,
they vote on amount of money. They vote on amount of money, and a few of them have say so. Like, hey, this organization or whatever the case may be. But those are all the ones that made the cut.
But when you say they vote on the amount of money each council person's getting.
No, the total amount.
On a total amount.
For the amount that, for the non-department amount. And looking at the.
But wait a minute. Let me ask one more question. Let's say that the appropriations that former Chair Ivy did, that information was already submitted to finance to say
Yes.
this is how that money is.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Yes.
so to me, that's called appropriated funds.
It
Yeah.
was already,
Well,
So
it was done.
it's because it's
yes
done.
and no. It was tentative, and it was tentative contractually based on submitting administrative stuff like last minute signatures or paperwork. It was funded. Well, yeah, essentially it was because they had gave an okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
so then, okay,
And
that's my point. It was appropriated funds. So
right,
how can one
Ma'am, it was
person
obligated.
yes and no,
unilaterally?
It was
because it hadn't
obligated.
finished.
She's trying to say
Yeah.
the funds were obligated to
Mhm.
each organization.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we were waiting for them to be dispersed.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So yeah, so we can say obligate
But
what
they're
the
using a loophole because it
but
says
my point
tentative.
is once it goes to finance
Yes,
and
ma'am.
it is out of the council chambers, it is at that point designated.
Yes,
Is that
Yeah.
correct?
that is
Mhm.
true.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then I'm with Latasha.
Malicious
How is
intent.
huh?
That was malicious intent and conspiracy.
Well,
They
but the
held
bottom
some
line is
people's
this:
money.
one person on the council, just because they have their chair, should not be able to go ahead and override everything that is already in place, especially knowing that this money is already it's already part of your budget.
It's
Right.
already spoken for. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. It
So
was
That's fine.
here's
one
the
person.
thing, right? The
It
thing
wasn't.
is that even based on what I got as how the council has functioned in the past on a timeline, they were already late notifying the organizations that they had been approved for money, right?
No,
So
no,
then
Levon,
Yeah, but
uh,
that doesn't even
Levon,
matter.
no,
It doesn't matter because it
some
had already
one
gone
of
to
our
the
guests is saying no, it
no.
wasn't.
They were not late.
No,
They
no,
yeah.
I'm
they
saying
were.
based on previous council scheduling, it was late. Again, back to YGT's point, there is no hard, fast order to how things are done.
No,
No,
ma'am.
but no, because
And
once that left the council and that went to finance, that should not have been able to be changed other than by, in my opinion, by some
Yeah.
type of resolution.
well, it
And
wasn't late. Technically, it was on time.
Mhm.
And that's why the auditor reached out to us. The window closed in April. So those of us, we know that most of our checks are dispersed in June or October. I'm not sure about yours, but in the summer, out the checks are dispersed. So this process was already in place.
no, I'm sorry. I meant that when they notified the recipients in October, that was already later than what typically happens.
No, I don't think it was late. I think what she was saying, and I don't know when the letters come out. This was my first year getting the invite. You have to get the invite in order to make the deadline by April. So she was notifying us in October, don't forget to make this April deadline. So we had to stay within this process. And I think Tasha and I both are saying the same thing. And when we were notified in October, we knew to stay. We had to submit and we had to clear the books before April of the following year of that because it was October.
I submitted it in 2024. My letter said that I was awarded this money for 2025.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was expecting, because I've gotten money from the county before. That's the county executive one. That one, came during the summertime or whatever the case may be. But this one, I was expecting, the bay to get just like my good friend, the organization Holla, like she got her money in October, November 2024. So
Right.
she got her letter, and then maybe I didn't holler like Belinda, like, hey, I need my money. Or whatever. I love her. Yeah, but they didn't
Right.
want to hear that noise. So
Yes,
she got her money, but I was just patiently because I was like, hey, this is money that, we can do our program. And I've just, it's
But
baffling to me that somebody would approve you,
right.
an elected board or whatever, they approve and say, hey, this is good. And then somebody say, no, we're not going to go this way.
Yeah,
That's what the letter say, we going in another direction.
and
So I don't know what
then
direction you're going in, but I just don't understand it. We're 54 organizations, and really we need to form the 54th, a coalition or whatever the case may be, because we are a voting block. Fairmont Heights in itself is a voting block.
Right.
Those are some very powerful people. They educators. Most of them are principals that I'm on a board with them. So they're educators, they high up and whatever that they do. So I just say, it's like you got to pick and choose who you're gonna mess with. So I just say,
Tasha, I have a
yes.
question.
Hmm.
So these 54 that you know about, they actually got letters saying that they had been awarded the money?
They got letters saying they was awarded, and they got a letter stating that that we changed our mind.
Okay, and
Um,
Sen, you got an award letter too, correct?
Yes, I'm on the same timeline with Tasha.
Okay,
yeah.
so see
Same
again,
timeline.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm going back to my point. If they got award letters, that money was appropriated.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
because other than
And
that, they
let's
couldn't tell us
remember,
that we was getting it.
but let's remember that the county's budget is July 1 to June 30th. Most nonprofit organizations are January 1 to December 31st. So the money that was coming was so that they would have money to know they were having the money as they did their next year planning. So now you wait till month 11 of the county's fiscal year to say, sorry, we're not giving it. And
Oops.
how did y'all, who told the accounting people to not pay those 54 people? That's why I say it's malicious, because somebody had to tell them hold these checks. So
Well,
they waited
But
I
until
agree,
May.
but
I think
I agree it's malicious, but I'm looking at, is there a legal thing on there with the breach, because those were awards. They
Yeah.
And
have been awarded.
See, I looked
that's
at the
why I
legality
said,
of that too, but
I,
it
I
I,
was
believe
tentative.
I think if you look at the spreadsheet, that's when they started touring. I'm not exactly sure, Sen, if they sent you anything stating that you was missing anything, if you was one of the people that was targeted like that, but I know I was. It was several things that I knew that I had provided, because you can't get approved and awarded if you have a messed up application. I have friends who didn't do the easy 990. They didn't make enough money, so they did the other process. And they didn't even make it through that process. But for me to be able to get the letter, I think it was a stalling period for them to be able to figure out, hey, where could we get money from, or whatever. And then, I continued to give them whatever they was asking. And that last little thing I gave them, then the very next day, that's when I got the letter. Hey, thank you, but we had to be able to say that you won't be, receiving the money. Shit was not, yeah. So that was like, hey, and it's nothing. We're not saying that the work you're doing is not good. And I, actually, called, Council Member Crystal Arietta myself, because when we both ran back in 2018, we all cared about the people. We might not align with everything, but my whole thing is people know, you have to know your work or whatever the case may be. So what she said to Tasha, hey, organizations in my district haven't got anything, but it is an organization, the training source, they get money. That's in her district, so you can't sit up there and say the organizations have not received.
Right.
And the
You
Denny
can't,
House
and you can't, and
was under
also
investigation.
Charles Edward is directly with community on the front line. They received money in
Mm-hmm.
2023, $100,000. I've never received that, and I live here. I live here all my
Right.
life. I ain't just moved here. I live here all
Yeah.
my life,
All my life.
and I serve my community. So my point, is, just be fair to people.
Yeah.
My whole thing is God gonna make a way for me.
Yeah, and I
He
wanted
always
to
does, but
reiterate that something you said. If there was anything missing, first of all, they should have notified you in the
they did.
beginning. That's how that works.
But she was
And
approved, so
I
that's
was
how she
approved.
know
yeah,
it wasn't.
I know it
yeah.
were.
Well, she said she did. I thought you said, Tasha, you did have something
No,
that
no,
you did
I said I
not
was
do.
approved. I said in April they started getting stuff from the council grant
Digging.
office
Yeah,
saying,
they
Mm-hmm.
start
"Oh, you
playing
forgot this.
games.
We or it was like, oh, everything in." Then all of a sudden, oh no, I made a mistake. You don't have
Hmm.
this. So I'm like, well, how
Right,
did y'all approve me? I'm like, I might not be the A student, but I'm definitely very business savvy. I
right.
understand people or whatever the
But I
case
was
may
just
be.
gonna say,
So. I'm just saying,
that is an excuse they can try to
right. So that
use
mean
to
that gave
say
them an opportunity to
they
solve,
could
because
have
I
stayed
Right.
believe
at that.
they were supposed to just give me the money, just how they gave it
Right.
to
But they were
one.
trying to make up an excuse not to give it
Yeah,
to you.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So they kept,
they
And
do that.
so they
saying this, that,
created
and
a
the other.
paper trail so that
Right.
they
That's
could say
right.
they couldn't give it to
So
you.
that you
Yeah, but
can
no, but I got
protest.
everything in. But the final thing is, they said, "Hey, you got everything in," and then that was the next day when they said, "Oh, we going a different direction." My whole thing is, how I feel about this is, if let's say you in charge and you wanted to pick your organizations and do it next year, have your process. If all y'all vote on it, y'all have y'all little things y'all want to change, and all y'all vote on y'all want to change, but don't hurt organizations that's doing the work.
Already
We already
established.
have enough
Yeah,
problems in our county.
absolutely.
Now you done heard 54 organizations that was actually doing work in the county.
Yeah.
A county that we all claim to love, or whatever
yeah,
the case may be. That our tax dollars, was supplying the money for. So
yeah,
when you say that you want to be able to give money to organizations that are here, if we're gonna have a physical sponsor, let that physical sponsor be a business that's registered in the state of Maryland, that
Right.
is part of our county. So even the first time when it was under the leadership of Tom DeNoga, and this isn't no old report, Tasha, you can pull this up in 2023. He gave money to the Jones House, 100,000, and they just formulated April of 2021.
yep,
So
23.
then what John Edward or Charles Edward Foundation, that's a fiscal
Mhm.
sponsor, it's in Beverly Hills. We have
Mhm.
established organizations here that can be a physical sponsor, that
Yeah,
we can have more accountability.
The Greater
Yeah,
Washington Community Foundation.
Yeah,
mhm.
so we
That was
have
we found it too.
organizations here, but I
Mhm.
just say, just be fair,
Yeah,
so
I'm
be,
so
be
sorry that
fair.
happened.
And as
That's
one of my good
ridiculous.
friends would say, how do y'all sleep at night, knowing that
Yeah.
you all affected these organizations in good conscience and good faith? That's a question that I have, and
And
I'm not
especially if it
exactly
was
sure.
shaky to give money
I'm
to
not
people
exactly sure
that other
also.
folks wanted to.
After looking at it, I had jury duty. I didn't have the opportunity to go give my testimony on that day, but I had the opportunity to listen to those organizations. But I don't understand how could anybody with eyes and ears sit there and hear those organizations that service the whole county and not be moved to want to be to change something.
Yeah, and I actually
Um,
made a joke about it that Ivy wasn't able to get a second. But one thing that I want my audience to take away from this, and then I'm gonna allow our guests to close out because I don't want to belabor their time as well. A mailbox is not a mission. I'll say that again. A mailbox is not a mission, because a zip code does not guarantee that somebody is servicing that area. It does not guarantee
Right.
that their doors are open. It does not
Exactly.
guarantee any of those things. And there are many nonprofits that are in disadvantaged areas who are still defunded, as we spoke about it today. Even those in those council member districts. This was not carefully thought out. This is not equity. This is confusion and division.
Mhm.
And I'll let our guests close out. Does anybody have anything they want to say before we let you all go?
I do, of course.
Okay, go ahead.
I do, of course. I understand that the grants were rescinded, and as I shared with Councilman Burrows, we will still, and I think uh, the name just disappeared. We will still continue to do the work. We will still ask for corporate sponsorships because, she matters. We still will ask for individual giving. $25 will help one woman. It will cover a meal for one woman. $250 will cover transportation, whether it be one day, and 500 will help us with one day of whole healing, so that we can put our whole program back on, put the overnight retreat back on. And if there is something that the county cannot do, no funding, let's find another way to support, even if it's from our constituents out in that's not a part of the county, private organizations. Let's look at team support and workplace giving. That's what, my call to action is for those who are interested in Peace on Patuxent and interested in helping women, because they do matter.
I'm coming to stay.
Y'all
I'm
drop them
going to do it
dollars.
overnight. I was
Vote on
looking for a getaway. I
peaceonpatuxent.com.
can't wait.
Hey, well, we're gonna continue to do the work. I'm gonna continue to collaborate, continue to be able to support, organizations.
And the organization too again?
Yeah, organizations. My organization is the Silent Foundation, and definitely we there to be to give people a Silent Foundation. We have 5 different training programs that we're gonna offer to help people get certifications. So God always make a way out of no way. Definitely when you're doing the right thing. So I put my trust in God, not man, because man will fail you each and every time.
Amen.
But definitely I believe that all the organizations on the right track, far as in the different lanes that they are in. God placed people in different lanes. So I just say just work it. I'm believing that the 54, we all will have our testimonies, that nothing to be missing, nothing to be broken, and that those organizations definitely their doors are made to be open. That one person don't have that much power. So I said that we may need to be on our knees a little bit longer or whatever the case may be, but definitely be able to see that we definitely have a breakthrough. Put your trust in God.
Amen.
I always say God open doors, and He closed the doors that need to be open, and then He open the doors that no man can close. So I just thank Him and praise Him for the 54th. For us to be able to lean on Him, not on man.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this to Miss Senita. My mother, October 20th, 2007, passed from breast cancer at 53. So because of that, I am going to make a donation to your organization. So if Mr. Sherman or whoever has your information connects you with me, get that. I'm going to make a donation to your organization. I don't have to make a donation to Solid Foundation. I donate my time all the time.
Hey, Tasha, we still need money now. And
Play the kind
watch
that
this.
fold.
And my grandmother passed of cancer. She had uterus cancer, and I believe that she working with one of my old church members, Tracy Waxstaff. I think she's a
Yes,
part of your
indeed. Yes,
organization.
yes, yes,
So definitely.
yes.
I
Sweet
appreciate the
yes,
work that you can
Yeah.
do.
yes.
So I don't have your number, anything like that. But Tasha's gonna make a donation on our behalf. Whatever she was thinking about doing, she gonna double.
I'm making a
Yeah.
donation on my
And actually, you know what?
but
I want to put you in touch with she's a cancer survivor. She does a annual fundraiser for breast cancer, but she does a lot like you. She's a local business owner, has multiple businesses in the DC in the DMV.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put you in touch with her because I think she can really hook you up with a dynamite grant writer too.
Wonderful. And that's what we're looking for.
I
We
know
need
that's right.
Tasha, you
volunteers.
too. And Tasha, you too, because her heart is also in the reentry.
All
Yes,
right, praise God. See,
yes,
see how
Look at us making
God work it out.
connections.
We going for them federal
Ex-
dollars, and also then
Exactly.
like if you collaborate, you'll get more money. A lot of
exactly.
times, don't be on an island by yourself, because it may be something that we can partner. I may can train some of the ladies, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm
Right.
all about Tasha. We really believe in wraparound services, and that's what we call
Okay,
them. Wraparound services and partnering. We
okay,
can't do this alone because our women range. They
wow.
range in age and they range in their cancer and their diagnosis. This is, and I tell everybody, I
And
know.
socioeconomic status too.
Absolutely. And so Peace on Patuxent, one of the things we plan to do this year is to host a Hispanic weekend or Hispanic retreat for all Hispanic, just the Hispanic population. But not only that, as I shared, we plan to have one for the Asian women. We have
Oh,
planned to have one for the Indian women. We're talking about women of color, women that are all diverse. When that woman walks into the retreat, she should be able to see herself. Because if she doesn't see herself in the room, she's not coming back. And she's not going to get the chance to decompress. That's all. And we
Ooh,
want to honor.
decompress,
Okay.
decompress. I feel it already.
good stuff now. I done gave my donation. Let me just say my last thing to people. I don't go to these meetings. I am an active voter. I'm neutral in talking to people. But what I believe, what I'm going to say to the people who aren't in the seats and don't have any desire to be in the seats, because people have said to me before, why don't you run? Not happening. They lucky they had me as a vice president for Local 2108. But you have to do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Ready
look
to
at
show
this
that self-approval.
with a fresh eye. You can't even trust what we've said today on the panel from any of us. Do your own research, because there's one thing that I said, and some people said, girl, that last line in your post was something. Sometimes the smoke is not from fire, the smoke is from fog, okay? So the fog is out there. You got to put on them high beams and get through it to do your own research so you can know
Oh
what's
no,
going
not the
on.
high beans in the fall.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you got to do. Get you some new glasses. Don't be looking through other people's glasses. That's their prescription. Get your own prescription and do your own research.
Thank you. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's y'all's call to action. And I just want to say, if I can, Sherman, I was taking notes, of course, but Latasha, let's talk offline about the 54 other organizations. And then the one thing that I know from my memory recollection of all these years that I've been doing this, I don't think there's ever been a nonprofit task force. I know there have been organizations who've done calling out to council members and county executives, but we never had a task force. And a lot of times the only way you can get the policy to change is that you bring people together. So that's it. Thank y'all.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We truly appreciate it. And you guys are definitely welcome to come back. We do have a spot on our segments when we talk about nonprofits, as well as if they have any events coming up or fundraising stuff. And, perhaps CAG need to partner with some of the nonprofits and do some fundraisers. That might be a good thing too, to bring some awareness. But, that's something we can look into. But again, thank you all so much. And you all were great.
Y'all have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
And if y'all don't remember, vote next week. The voting
in 2 weeks, isn't it?
Special election. No, next week.
The 3rd.
That's the actual day. It's early voting on next week.
Oh wow, I forgot about early voting. Now one thing I just wanted to mention about that Jones house is so funny because now I have to check this because I always thought when you have a resident agent, you can't use the same address as the business. So I was just looking at Jones House and they have the same address for the resident agent as the
Here you go, expecting people to do the
principal
right thing
office. No, well, these are things that we have to watch so that we hold them accountable.
We're a watchdog group. That's the point.
And the other group that got
let me
money.
just say this really quick. Because speaking about money, on this website, and that's what I was trying to show you all earlier, if I can pull it up and hopefully zoom in a little bit. It speaks about those grant funds. It says independent audit or review is performed by a certified public accountant, if available, is required for all organizations with total revenue from all sources of $300,000 or more.
Well, that should be a lot of his friends.
That's supposed to trigger a lot of investigations.
It sure
so I may need to reach on over to Takisa.
Well, yeah, because the other thing, one of the other companies that I know we first looked up when we first heard about this, and that was the Prince George's County Drug Policy Coalition. That's the organization that we were wondering about because let me correct myself. I said Jones House. It's Adams House. That is not in good standing.
Okay.
So they receive money.
Right. Adams House had the scholarships. I could not remember which organization it was.
Yeah. So they're not in good standing. So they shouldn't be doing anything.
All right.
What's next?
Well, what's next is Tanya is supposed to talk about the impact grants.
Well, I
So
think we've
you ready to
talked
talk about
enough
that?
about grants now.
Okay.
Yeah, I
With
applied
all
for
the,
that one too. I
You
didn't
you
get
want
that
to
one
get
this year.
into you want to get into the OIC report. That's
I
really
want
what
to
it
get
is.
into the
Well, go ahead.
OIC
Tell us about the
report.
OIC report on
Yes. Do
appropriating
you
the
have it
funds
to
in the school board.
do you have it to bring it up?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, and I know it gets messy when I share my screen, so I'll just talk about it. Well, okay, guys. Here's the update. You all know that we're watching out for your money. And
Absolutely.
so,
Hold on. Say what OIC is and
well,
let
well, well, I will, but let me finish saying what
You don't get
I'm
into it.
finish up what I'm starting with. So, we're always going to watch out for your money. And what we had done back in 2024 is that we had filed a complaint with the State Board of Education, and we had filed that complaint because a board member was asking for a reimbursement of $36,000, $36,111.92 to for reimbursement for what they said were legal fees in defending themselves. So we filed a complaint because we saw that it just didn't seem the invoices didn't match up to the date of any type of service that would have been rendered by this attorney. And so the state board, of course, you remember the state board dismissed our claim. We went for judicial review. That was dismissed not on the merits, on the technicality. And so we are now at the appellate court where it looks like we will have a hearing scheduled in the appellate court. The attorney for that former board member did file a motion to try to have our motion dismissed, which the judge denied. So it looks like we'll be able to finally have something heard on the merits. But parallel to that, also, we filed a complaint with the Office of Integrity and Compliance. This is and you may have heard OIC group. This is an organization that was created through legislation, maybe about I think it was in 2022 is when it was created. This was something that was spearheaded by Edward Burrows in an attempt to try to keep monitoring on the school board while he's on the council. So we filed a complaint with this group as well as with the internal affairs with the school system. And so the OIC came out with a report. And let me share their findings. So, and we actually did a, Latasha, you talk about using AI tools. There's a great one, Notebook. So I used the Notebook tool to actually put that report in, and it did a deep dive analysis and did a nice little audio on it. So we will have that audio available for you on our page. Now, the board member in question is the Democratic nominee for District 5, the County Council District 5 seat, Shayla Adams Stafford. And that's the person who submitted this $36,000 worth of invoices. Well, the OIC did the investigation, and what they concluded, which is what we've been saying, which is what we said when the State Board of Education dismissed our case. And so I'll just read what the conclusion. The OIC investigation revealed that PGCPS inappropriately disbursed $36,111.92 in legal fees to law firm for board member A, they're not going to say her name, legal counsel. The board chair, which at that time was Judy Mickens Murray, approved this payment based on the board's attorney legal opinion. Now, let me make sure we clarify this because there were two attorneys that were from Shipley Horn that was working for the board at that time. There was Bradley Farrar, who was by the book. Anytime he gave a legal opinion, it was always according to the law. He gave case law. He did the proper interpretation of statute. Then there was Dennis Whitley. And if you ever watch a board meeting while Dennis Whitley was there and you saw me testify, I always started my testimony out with, why is he still here? So he Bradley gave a legal opinion to the schools to the board in July. I think it was around July 21st, which told them that Miss Adam Stafford's fees were not reimbursable. One, because some of the fees included when she was a plaintiff suing the school board. And the other ones just didn't. They tried to use this new law that our General Assembly had passed, saying that you would pay everybody legal fees. At least that's what they thought they had wrote, but they had inappropriately wrote the bill while they were running around town telling everybody, "Oh, we just wanted everybody's bills to be paid." So again, y'all need to understand when your legislators are writing legislation like that, they're wasting your tax dollars. Hold them accountable, because that's not what you. Matter of fact, it's a violation of the Constitution, our Maryland Constitution. But anyway, so the first legal opinion said that none of the fees of the board members that had prosecuted or sued the school system, who attempted to sue the Dr. Juanita Miller while she was the board member, or if their legal fees had to do with the ethic panel's investigation, if they didn't actually respond to the state, unless they did that, none of those fees were reimbursable. But then Dennis Whitley from the same firm wrote a 2-page opinion saying that, oh no, they're covered. He didn't include any laws. He didn't include no case law, no statutes, nothing. And so that was written in August. The board chair, I guess, apparently didn't like what the first attorney said and went hunting for an answer that she wanted. And then she got this thing in August. And mind you, this is after she had Bradley Farrar removed as the lead attorney for the board. And then all of a sudden, Dennis Whitley's here, and then he writes that for her. So, so they said the board person, she went on, which was interpreted the investigative activities of the ethic panel, and then they mentioned this OIG report. Remember, there was a report done by the IG for the State Board of Education, and this this IG office tried to say that the ethic panel did not properly do an investigation. Well, and then they tried to say that there was a nonprofit, which was my nonprofit. I basically was in cahoots with the board chair at that time, who was Dr. Juanita Miller, to actually have her file complaints on my behalf, which was crazy because I produced all the complaints that I had filed on behalf of our organization. So we knew that OIG report was fake. Also, a judge has already said that OIG report, when they were trying to remove, these board members were trying to remove Dr. Juanita Miller from the board, a judge had already said that OIG report isn't even competent evidence. He said he couldn't even figure out how this inspector general came to any of the conclusions in this report. So he struck that from even being used in the hearing where they were prosecuting Dr. Miller. So, but apparently this other attorney used that report plus an unofficial board meeting that was misinterpreted and tried to say that those fees should be paid. So thankfully, the OIC did a report and they said that that money was inappropriately dispersed. And one of the big things it says is that the invoices that the invoices during the time they said that these services occurred, there was never any legal matter to defend at that time. Never during that period, because the case that was brought against the school board, which was dismissed in July of 2021, ended any legal action, and there was no other need for legal action until July 22nd, 2022, when the State Board of Education then issued charges for the removal of this board member. So from July 2021 until July 2022, almost a full year, there shouldn't have been any work done by the attorney, but yet and still he produced invoices for work being done. And then even after issues were charged and the board member was notified, he never entered his appearance to the State Board of Education, and he never submitted one piece of paper in her defense. So, based on that, it says this unjustified payment highlights a sufficient deficiency in understanding and implementing the legal requirements for retaining an attorney and approving legal fees, raising concerns about potential waste or misuse of public funds. And then they gave them some recommendations on what they need to do to resolve this. So, I guess the good part of this is what our group has been saying for over a year, since 2023, when we first filed our complaint, is accurate. It shows that what we said was valid. Those fees should have never been reimbursed. The former board member, Shayla Adams Stafford, should have never submitted them for payment because she knew that there was no legal activities going on at that time. I don't know how these invoices even came to be, and which becomes the other question. So, the report we're going to put on our page. We're going to put the actual in-depth analysis that we did with this AI product. We're going to also have that. So if you don't want to read the report, because I think it's about 11 pages, you can actually hear the analysis. But at this point, we are not going to stop. We will now pursue on a greater scale of getting back this $36,000 for our school system. I don't care who pays it back. Shayla Adams Stafford can pay it back. Judy Mickens Murray can pay it back. That attorney can pay it back.
We need our money back from Shayla and from what's the other boy name who was in St. Louis?
David Murray.
Murray, yes.
Well,
because that was what, $30,000 too.
Well, no, that was about 10. I think it was about 10 or about 10 or 12,000. But this is where we have to get
Patuxent could have had that. Let me stop.
But this is where we have to get on our board members, because the board members have to take action to get that money back.
So did Shayla commit fraud?
She, according to board policy, she did. Both she and Judy Mickens Murray committed fraud. The definitions, and I think it's policy 010. It's either 0108 or 0109, but it's theft. Under that board policy, it is theft. Because there was a documentation presented that was misrepresented to actually get funds from the school system. And so, again, like I said, under board policy, which is based on COMAR, just based on state law, it's theft. So that's who you all are about to elect to the District 5 position in the county.
Wow.
A thief. And I'm not saying it. I'm just telling you what the board policy said. The board policy calls her a thief.
That's how we got somebody in the office.
COMAR. Comar
Well,
calls her
it
a
sounds like
thief.
Komar is wrong because they know better. You know, I like stirring y'all up, Tanya. So I'm
No,
just trying to
you know he's ticking us all
Look,
off.
I'm
look, Tanya.
reporting what the law says. The law says y'all are about to elect a thief to sit and represent you in District 5 on the county council. That's
Well,
what the
let's
law
talk.
says.
Let's go back to the local impact grant for a quick minute because I sent you all a message, but you probably didn't get to see it, but you can see it on the screen. Hopefully, it's not too large. And I
Mhm.
thank someone for sending this to me.
I can't
So
see it.
oh goodness gracious, I'm sorry. Let me see if I can zoom on in real
I
quick.
see something,
Yeah.
but it's tiny.
Yeah, because it's
You know I have
wait till you
mature eyes.
wait till I zoom in. You see the $2 million that somebody about to get.
We
Okay,
got your back. We got your back, Latasha. Don't worry.
let's see how I can do this. And
Jones House. Whoa! Wait a
Oh,
minute.
Jones House is getting $2 million.
$2 million,
That's a lot of money.
a whole lot. Good
Now,
Lord,
what in the
like when they
world
used to
did
say
they do to
on
get the 2 million?
in Living Color. Good
Wait a
Lord,
minute.
that's a lot of money.
And look, Tasha, how much did you want?
$2 million. Hmm. Yes, and they're trying to change that the bill as well. I sent that text to you all as well, but I just want to throw this on the screen. 2 million, baby. I copied and pasted right from the county website, the bill text. It just
And
copied and
Jones
pasted.
House is one of his fraternity brothers, right?
Well, it's his friend. I know that
I
much.
think that's
I
one of
don't
his,
know
yeah, I
about
think that's one of his
fraternities.
fraternity brothers. And I think one of his fraternity brothers still heads up 100 Black Men.
Well, I'm stuck on various community impact grants at $1.9 million. Like, how can you just generally list something?
Now, why is Prince George's County getting, wait a minute, why is Prince George's County Community College getting a separate pot of money when they already get funded? Separate. They're getting a financial empowerment center. So is this named after
They
Edward
already
Charles?
have that. They already have that financial
Why are
empowerment
they, yeah, but why are they getting a separate pot of money for the college?
because he included it in the CB 9909, whatever that thing is you call. We talked about public education, so now he can
Mhm.
put them in this thing.
See, but I'm wondering now, is this going for that money where he says anybody in his district can go to the community college free?
Yes.
The
Hold on a second, Tasha. Let me pull you back in. I'm sorry because they won't be able to hear you on that end.
Wow. So now they're finding their strings for their pet projects through our tax dollars. Go ahead.
At a community event over in Suitland. It was no, it was actually off of Central Avenue. It was at a church. Not at Central Avenue. What is that? Walker Mill. It turned into Walker Mill. It used to be St. Paul's. I can't think of the name of the church, but they it was a community.
Trinidad.
Yeah, Trinidad. Yeah, Life After Release organized this event, and I was there. And Councilmember Oriata did speak about having, if you live in her district, you can go to the community college for free. And if you're a senior citizen and you wanted to take adult classes, continue education, you can go for free if you lived in District 7 or 8. So
So
they have
now they've
So they cut
spread
out the
it.
rest of
yeah, so at 7 and 8,
the
if you live in those areas, you can go to Prince George's Community College for free.
Mm.
What's the Second District Foundation? What the heck is this? A
I don't know.
community
I wasn't
development
able to find it.
corporation.
I wasn't able to find out what that was either.
Mm.
$4.25 million.
Whew.
And he's funding these for 2 years. Is this based on the annual? Is this $9 million stretched over 2 years or $9 million for each year? It's a $10 million grant, right?
Yes, the grant is.
The fund is 10, well, it's 9 million on here, but they rounded up that they just say 10. So for 2 years, they're going to combine 2 years worth of revenue in order to give these organizations the money. They already done pre-picked them.
Yeah, it's a multi-year plan for expenditure of the local impact grant funds for services and
So
improvement.
are people cutting deals for political positions?
Y'all need to be raising
you know it.
nonprofits, and people need to go to MGM and
That's
tell
not equity.
them
$2 million for one organization, and granted, you got project charges that
But
they
those
receive
impact grants, you have
100,000.
to be it's a 5 mile radius. You talking about the impact grant with
Oh no, I know.
you have
I'm
to be a
just talking
five
about in
mile
totality
radius.
Yeah, but
because
that
they got
money was
a hundred
supposed to be.
thousand
Yeah,
from
but
Unless they expand the
that money is
radius.
supposed to be
One at a
used.
time.
That money is supposed to be used, and that's in the law. That money is not supposed to be used to be putting light bulbs in apartment buildings and cutting people. That is to address the mental health issues that result from people becoming addicted because of them gambling and other addictions they may pick up from a casino. That's what that money is supposed to be used for.
Yeah, a motion but was made by Vice Chair Burrows, seconded by Bligade. But what I will say, and the point I was trying to make is, think about the totality, the amount of these grants that are being given to certain nonprofits. It's not being spread evenly. It's not being, given to multiple nonprofits in those districts. This thing says, let me go back to it so I can show y'all. It says $2 million to one organization.
Yeah, it's eliminating a bunch of organizations that
Not
serve that
one more
community.
minute, Levon, and I just want people to understand the magnitude and the gravity of this. This organization received $100,000 out of project charges. Then they received $510,000 from the non-departmental grant, and now they're receiving $2 million from the local impact. And again, this is an organization that is supposed to be doing assistance for seniors. They do the grass cutting. I believe they're going to start doing scholarships now. Because everybody scholarships. I mean, who wants to say no to a scholarship apparently? But
Okay, so
that's what
where's the
it
mental
looks like they're
health?
doing.
Where's the mental health?
Perhaps that'll come along with it.
So I'm gonna go crazy because my grass is high.
And
My
the
grass is so high.
organization is 2 years old.
Say again.
The organization is 2 years old.
Apparently 2023.
So we've got organizations, and
But they were getting funding before 2 years. Just
they got it the same year they was formed. Same
right.
year.
Right, but $2 million. We have organizations that are 20 years old with stellar records of service. They can't get $200,000. But they gonna give this little Jack in the Box organization $2 million. Y'all need to be raising hell because how many? I have the whole list of how many organizations have been getting this money annually, and just looking at this, with this about 10 or 12, and they had, I think, up to 25 that were getting money annually, and now you're going to double it up for 2 years.
Yeah, the spending plan is total is 9.7 million.
We need to be going to MGM and telling them that they need to do something about this.
Well, not only that, we need to be going to the IRS, because if you say that you are a public nonprofit, then you should be getting the majority of your money, not from the government, because then you're a government agency. It should not be coming primarily from the government. It should be coming.
This is not sustainable.
But look how much they're giving the jobs. 200,000.
Who?
To who?
For jobs. For District 8 young adult.
So why are we giving separate grant money to the police department and not funding this through just funding it through the executive office for what they need. See, this is what I mean about the county council trying to act as a branch of government for all. That's, you have your job.
I ain't no attorney, and I said that earlier. But this feels like embezzlement. They are embezzling my tax money.
Yeah.
And yeah, and now how are we going to pay this $200 million? Because we putting a lot of money up here in these non-restricted categories.
Mhm.
And what's the county council administration audits and program services? What's that, a contract?
That's what I wanted to know.
Hired out?
That's what I wanted to know. Because shouldn't that be internal, that you have your own audit? Well, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
These are, I'm going to tell y'all
black-
something. When I look at this, it reminds me of what we saw on the school board, where they create black holes using unrestricted categories so they can dump them in those unrestricted holes and use them as they please.
I'm done with the various community impact grants for $1,911,500. These kids, these young adults, these rebels,
Peter Pan politicians.
these council members, they ain't never had $1,911.50 before they start getting these checks that they can play around with.
I'm gonna tell y'all this. This is what we need to start looking at.
Y'all voted for these people.
Y'all need to start looking at the new houses that have been purchased, the new cars that have been purchased. Y'all need to start looking at all this, because this stuff, it'll start lining up when you start looking at how things are being spent.
Police department, $484,500.
That's what the police department is part of the executive branch of government. Right. Why is the council, again, I get back to what YGT said, that process. And I think that process starts with making sure the branches of government are doing what they're supposed to do. We should not have council people making up programs and then funding them based on their own initiatives. Because that's what this is happening right here. They're making up the programs and they're getting their friends to start nonprofits and start LLCs. Watch and see how many LLCs, new LLCs and nonprofits pop up after we do the general election. Watch and see how many pop up.
That's not good.
And some of these Southern Prince George's County Community Charities. That's an AKA organization. Let me see. They pink and green. So let me see. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, primarily works in collaborations with members of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So they giving them Southern, where'd it go?
Y'all better understand, you can't spend $1 5 times. You can't spend $1 5 times. And that is what this council is trying to do. It just doesn't work. After a while, they're going to come and start taxing us again.
And then why is the Excellence in Education Foundation getting money when they don't service Southern that district? How do they qualify for a grant? No disrespect to the leadership of the foundation, but
I thought they go out to do their own they do an annual fundraiser. Then why are we giving them money when they already do fundraising?
Right. Why are we funneling money back into the foundation?
A foundation.
That they give awards and scholarships. So that's another way to give scholarships to kids. So what? He gonna make sure that they get District 8 scholarships only? Like,
all I can say is y'all look at California. California was doing the same agenda. All of giveaways. It's not sustainable.
Yeah,
it just is not sustainable.
This is not what the MGM Local Impact Fund was designed to do.
No, it was supposed to take care of addictions that develop as a result of having the
Gambling,
casino.
right?
That's what the money was supposed to be done for. Not cutting grass, not replacing light bulbs, not putting up smoke detectors. That's just not what it was done for. Not for flyers so people can put on their nice blue suits and smile at you and say, I'm going to wipe out hunger. No, that's not what it was done for.
Yeah, well, I'll
$2
say
Well,
million.
this is
let me read this really
economics.
quick. Let me just read this really quick, y'all. So I wanted to pull up this policy because I want just to make sure everybody can say Tanya Wingfield called Shayla Adam at Stafford a thief. I'm gonna read the policy. What the
Everything but a
policy
charlatan.
says. This is policy 0109, fraud, waste, and abuse. So, abuse and proper use of resource or authority for financials involves behavior that is deceptive and inappropriate when considering public trust. Well, we already were told that reimbursements were inappropriate. Fraud, an act of omission, misrepresentation. We already know that there was no legal action happening when she submitted all those invoices. And under fraud, they say theft, which is misappropriation, concealment. Those are some of the words they put in here. So forgery, altering, altering and signing of documents. So when Judy Mickens Murray signed the approval for those documents and didn't get board approval, it falls under forgery. That includes for checks, contracts, invoices, purchase orders. She used the purchase order to pay for those legal fees. Expenditure reimbursement requests. Shayla Adams Stafford asked for reimbursement. That falls under forgery. So and um, this is all aligned with Comer.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, it's so important that you all understand and you all not talking about CAC members because we get it. And I'm sure some of our viewers get it too. But those who say, oh, well, what's the harm? It's only 10,000. It's only 20,000. It's only 2 minutes. A drop in the bucket. A drop in the bucket to compare to what we have for the budget, for the county. And what I got to say about that is the bucket got a hole in it. And we need to plug it. There's a leak in this building, and this county is not doing the things that it's supposed to be doing. They are weaponizing their rhetoric, and each one of their testimonies, every time, it's always woe is my district. And I'm not saying that they haven't had a historically underfunded or underserved areas, but what I'm saying is it's not a black and white issue, it's a caste issue. It's the haves versus the have not in this county, and what they're doing is making themselves the haves on you the have nots. Because there's no way you can tell me that an organization needs $2.5 million to do some of the things that they're doing.
Yeah, that's life changing right there.
Right.
That's life
Instantly
changing.
overnight.
But again, Sherman, and you're right, it shouldn't be district. That's why we have an executive branch of the government that has agencies that take care of across the county.
And really,
and
to add
then
large
support.
numbers, this is something that they should be doing to make sure that it's equitable for the entire, county of Prince George's. And because I don't really think that there needs to be pet projects by district, if I'm going to be honest with you. And at least for the non-departmental grants, the district ones that they get for $100,000, yeah, perhaps. But I think something that this magnitude needs to benefit the entirety of this county.
Exactly.
I agree with
For the
you.
impact, well, I guess I only was supposed to do that area. I think they probably extended it. Probably now the impact zone probably reached Suitland and Temple Hills area. First, it was right in that Forest Heights.
It's only supposed to be
5
5 miles.
but 5 mile radius, but I
They
think they
moved it to
increased it.
6.
It made so that it may touch some of that area because that means it'll touch probably 7 as well.
It touched
but
part of me at 9, but I don't get anything.
Yeah.
And again, But again, it was earmarked for specific services.
Mm-hmm.
But we were going to talk to Sydney about that too, to ask him, had he tried to stake a claim to.
I think he want to stay away from those fundings because he don't want to get caught up in whatever mess that might arise
Well,
from
I'm
it.
sure, but this was before we knew. We were talking about it before we saw this nonsense right here. And here's what I want to say about this. Having come into county government in 2010, having campaigned from 2002 to 2010, having been accused of not going to do anything differently when we got into office, and having brought integrity to the nonprofit process through the office of the county executive, having partnered with that council at the time to do things a little bit better, and then a lot of them at that time put their $100,000 special appropriation grant into the Greater Washington Community Foundation's hands so that they would not have this bias when people were asking for monies. Having built up the nonprofit sector because they were not respected in the Washington philanthropic community or by the Washington philanthropic community, and having brought philanthropy to not only Prince George's County nonprofit sector, but to PGCPS. Put people at the table to talk to the then superintendent. I mean, I'm looking at this and we have gone backwards 15 years. This is a mess.
Yeah.
And the nonprofit sector, I don't care. Y'all need to stop tap dancing and not speaking up
being
for
afraid.
yourselves. Y'all need to organize around this stuff and figure it out. Get you a legal person.
Really, we need to do a class action suit and sue
Yes.
for performance.
Yes. And I'm saying it, and I don't care who hear me, and I don't care y'all get mad at me.
And not only a class action, we need to have the IRS come in and investigate some of these nonprofits, because they should not be getting this great percentage of their revenues from the government. They're welfare recipients. That's all they are. They are welfare recipients.
Well, I just think that they need to come together, because this.
Yeah, that's why I call them the 54th. You know, so it need to all of us know how to organize. All of us have volunteers, all of us have people that we supported and that we impacted.
Yeah.
And it's federal money out there, so it's good to be to have some people on the federal side that we may be able to call on, in these situations. But I think we need to look at state money as well as federal money, and also foundations. There's foundations out there that that people can apply for, and also
it might be better for foundations,
corporations, officials. I think the 54
government.
Yeah, I think all right. I agree with you on that one too.
Right.
But all right, say foundations. All right, so foundations is a different process, but I think we need to go to our state representatives and let them know that we want a different process, as well as our federal workers. They can't be dumping money in and people don't know how to handle the money or distribute the money fairly. So, the main thing is always disappointing and disheartening when we see, our Black officials get caught up and doing things illegal. I watched the movie, HBO movie with the Boardwalk, and it just shows you how, people back then in Atlantic City, they would cut deals, and it was always, whenever there was a bill, it was always some money involved. It was always somebody on the other end, cutting a deal. But we have to be able to learn, from this. I'm saying, if you're an elected official, you're not there to get wealthy.
Right.
It may be some, but also you're not there. I know what Mayor Berry, he helped businesses to get their fair share. Now, that's something that they can be advocating for, is for business owners that live in Prince George's County, that we have first dibs like DC. That's what they need to work on, so our tax dollars will stop circulating, but not playing around with this nonprofit money, just be fixed, because it is our tax dollars.
The thing about But the thing about nonprofit money in the philanthropy community is the philanthropists don't want to support anything that looks, smells, walks like corruption.
Yeah.
This will affect all the funding that some of our nonprofits may be getting already. This kind of stuff is what will cause them to draw back. And we already know the pot of money is getting smaller and smaller,
Right.
and the need is greater and greater. And I'm not even seeing any of these programs that have anything to do with, like Tanya said, I don't see mental health, I don't see housing, I don't see food insecurity.
Well, we have several nonprofits that do that. DXT Foundation, they definitely have a mental health component. One Love Life Center has a mental health component. These are organizations that I collaborate with. We definitely had a mental health component. But often those organizations might not be getting money, through the county council or whatever the case may be.
But I'm talking about specifically for this local impact money. I'm not seeing organizations that represent
maybe the rule has changed, Lavon, and we just not aware of the rule.
The law still it's the language in the law is still there what the money is supposed to be used for. It's just that our council,
maybe it's Peer Forward.
Huh?
Maybe it's Peer Forward that offer mental health assistance.
Well, this is where our county council people are not doing their job because they're supposed to hold one another accountable. And they're supposed to be making sure that money is used right. I mean, to vote and just say, hey, let's give all the money to District 8 because he has all the plans and the ideas. That's not right.
Yeah, I know that ain't right. Yeah, but I love y'all. I appreciate the work that you all are doing. So I say stick to it. This is my first time hanging out with you all. But definitely I just want it to be fair. And hopefully people can learn if they do have a God in their conscience, if they have some type of conscience, some type of conviction to do the right thing. But definitely I appreciate y'all. Y'all not always appreciate and celebrate it for your investigative work. Maybe I should have been investigators or reporters, I don't know, or whatever. But
I'm
the
actually
main
a
thing is
trained
I just want people to
investigator.
know what's going on. I always hope that we had like a coffee circle because we always have people that want to run for office. But a lot of people, that's what I'm learning, people don't have backbones. They did, but they have no
Invertebrates, that's
backbone.
what I
They just
call
a
them.
slimy. So, we counting on them to be able to advocate and fight for us. But
They're
people get
always
comfortable.
behind you. They're always behind you.
They get comfortable. So I say keep up the good work and hopefully, something good come out of all of this.
Well, Tasha, before you go, do you have anybody that's in this 54th or anyone in the legal community that can assist with maybe taking legal action?
But right now I'm not talking about anything like that. But there's people out there that could take legal action. All I'm just saying, I guess things that's done in the dark will come out in the light. That's something that I firmly believe. And my whole thing is, I always go back to the Bible hold on, let me get it right. When somebody is doing good and they be turning for evil, a lot of times evil don't depart out of their house. So the main thing is I know that I'm God fearing. I know who I belong to. I'm not perfect, but one thing that I do know is that he loves me, right? And he loves all these other different people who are serving. A lot of times they use their own money to pay to help people. They helping God's people. So when you come against people like this, I say it's a bold soldier to do that. But a lot of times people arms are too short to be to fight with God. So definitely I'm praying. Far as for my county, I'm not moving.
Well, my mama say you have to bring them down to you, hit them at the knees.
Well,
the main thing
what scripture I like, Tasha?
What is it?
The kingdom of God suffer violence, and the
But the
violence
violence
taken
taken by
by
force.
force. Remember, that was one of Pastor Betty ones.
Yeah, that was definitely one of her scriptures. Yeah,
Yes.
so that's what I just said. So he said that he'll make even your enemy be at peace with you. So the main thing is, he always say, touch not my anointing, do them no harm. So that's something that I do know. And people who these people that are serving, that take a special type of person to serve, because some people only care about themselves.
Right.
So, I pray for all of them. I pray for our leaders, because those are the ones that right now that's in place, that God would get them wisdom to fix this whole situation. Because it's election time about to come back in the county, y'all.
It really is.
I know.
And what is it? 2026. So
next year in
the
June.
main thing is, so I don't know how people will be able to come out of this one, to be able to say that they care, especially maybe if they just stay in their district, but if they trying to go state, county wide, it may be a little difficult for a few folks.
But just tell them to keep hoeing their road.
Hey, they better keep hoeing their
Hold your
road. They
road.
better do something.
They gonna reap what they sow.
Yeah, so I just said don't stop the fight. A lot of times I say that, people may look at people who make noise. I guess they call them troublemakers, but I call it, as they say, good trouble. I'm saying sometimes you have to be to stir up things. Although this could have been a situation going on a long time in our county, but if it's not right, it's not right. So we
Yep,
want to be
that's
to
what
get
I
it
say.
corrected. Because a lot of times people look and they laugh at us. Like what is Prince George's County doing now? And it's like we always get them something to be to laugh at us. We can't get along. I just say I've never witnessed a meeting like that and what I saw. Um, because I say that's somebody's, mother, that's somebody's wife, to be to disrespect somebody, so, you have to be to put yourself in that person's shoe, but you want somebody to do your mom like that. So
Right.
even if you don't like a person politics, it's still you have a level of respect, right? So I think that that's something that's, missing. And I just said it was hurtful just to be to see that people had just that much hatred in their heart. And one thing I can say about you, Levon, people don't always, treat you right, but you don't let that change you. You'll say whatever you got to say and let the chips fall where they may. But still, at the end of the day, you hug the person. You're not hating the person.
I hug most of them, Tasha.
Well, most time I'm saying you butt hug them
Right.
or whatever. But I
Forgive
just
them,
said that.
Lord. They know not what they do.
Okay, yeah,
But let me just make a point of clarification, because I said something when I said I didn't see other organizations. So I guess I'm rereading the community impact grants. So I'm guessing this 1.9 million would
Miscellaneous.
support other organizations that we were referencing, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that they designating all this money to organizations that,
They friends, just plain and simple.
Yeah.
All right, Latasha, I appreciate it. But I want to say happy belated birthday to the heavenly birthday to the Honorable Malcolm X. And one of his quotes is one of my favorites. He says, "My favorite hobby is stirring up Negroes." Stir them up.
Well, we got enough. We got enough of them here in Prince George.
No, we definitely have enough. So keep stirring up the gift. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, you too.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Oh, that was
Oh
lovely.
man,
We appreciate
y'all.
all our guests. It was a
That's
very impactful
y'all.
episode.
You know, I just can't get off the soapbox. All this money we're giving away and our bills ain't being paid. I tell you, our bills ain't being paid.
And the thing
Well,
that
they
gets
are
me,
robbing Peter to pay Paul, and Peter's doing all the work.
Look, they are robbing Peter to pay Paul, John, everybody. It's
Not
ridiculous.
everybody.
but
It's
you
only a
know
certain
what?
few.
They are trying to spend $1 10 times. They
But
got it in their mind.
the thing that gets me the most, and I know I'm cut from a different cloth, and I don't have expectations that people have integrity or character or standards or anything like that. But don't tell me you are this person, as Latasha said, you get up there and say, I care about the people. And then on the other side, you ridicule your predecessors and said that they were corrupt or that they were doing nepotism and cronyism, and you're not going to do that. And then you sit here and on record blatantly do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I see all his initiatives.
I don't have to be in your clique. I don't have to be on your staff. I don't have to be in your nothing. I don't like hanging out with people who are not honest. And don't sit in my face and lie. That's the thing. Again, these nonprofits work hard. There are some dynamite nonprofits and nonprofit leaders in Prince George's County, and they did not deserve any of this. None of them. And I just got a problem with that.
I think we have got to get back to where nonprofits are used to take care of the social ills that your government cannot do.
Right.
It can't be, I think people should have their grass cut. It can't be, I think everybody should go to community college free.
It can't be, we're going to go and fix the roof on your house.
Right, but only 200 people. We
when they do my roof, I had to do mine too. Seriously.
If you're not one of those 200, I mean, and to be so disingenuous, because a number of these things came up as pilot programs where they were supposed to find, they were supposed to find a different funding stream. And so now you have manipulated and connived and put it in with our tax dollars. Yep. I don't want my tax dollars to go to pay for somebody who has. I am a senior citizen. I could surely use $800 a month, but I'm gonna go out and make my own money. I'm sick and tired of hearing, well, we have to support the seniors. Dag it, I'm a senior. So don't sit up here and tell me you're here to help the seniors. Because if I put in anything, I know it's going to be rejected. I'm looking at this, when I see things that come under our executive branch of office, I don't understand why we were putting funding in here. I don't understand, why there's an extra pot for Prince George's Community College. I don't understand why we're only looking at jobs for District 8 youth, or well, it says young adults. So I guess we're now talking about people 24 to 30. So now we're talking about getting jobs for young adults. $200,000.
Where's the supporting narrative for this decision?
I know. And what are we doing with this extra $484? $40,000 for the police department. Why ain't that just going to the police department budget so that we have a responsible professional managing that money? Not just some youngins who just every time they wake up with a new idea, they want to put some legislation behind it.
Yeah.
This is just getting to be too much.
Tell us what that money is supposed to be for.
I don't know. Yeah, I bet you it's for some academy program somebody wants to do to say they're going to fight prison to pipeline or something like that. And I guarantee you that this money for the community college is so that people in certain districts can go to college free. And it is nothing more than somebody trying to build up their political clout so that when they try to run for their next office, that they can say, well, look at all this stuff I did for you.
Just don't talk to me about I'm angry and I'm bitter and I'm this, because y'all will keep me angry and bitter.
This is ridiculous.
Because I care about the people and I care about what's right. And this ain't right. Like, this don't even make no sense. Who else? Now, and when you look at this is the other thing that affects us. Local impact funds go along with other projects. If I'm bringing a project to Prince George's County and you tell me that you want me to contribute X number of dollars to the community on a 10-year plan or something, I'd be like, no, not if you're going to play with it and change it. I take my project someplace else.
With this local impact, I agree. We need to talk to MGM and let them know that this money is not being used what it was designated to do, because I don't see anything in here that has to really do with mental health. I have to
get on my old laptop and pull up the documents that I was creating for all the nonprofit funding. I believe that I had started working on the local impact listing, and it may even be on the website still, so I'll have to look. But this is just greed.
Yeah, and unfortunately, our council people are not doing, you're not holding each other accountable. You have a fiduciary responsibility also, to hold your fellow council person accountable when they are doing abusive things like this.
And I would say to the nonprofits, whether you are a nonprofit that had your money rescinded, or you're a nonprofit that had it reduced, or you're a nonprofit that's getting your money, you need to get your board members. If you serve on a board for a nonprofit, this is where you step into place and you go to the right people and say, this is unacceptable. On behalf of my board and my clients, this is unacceptable. Every nonprofit has a legal authority. They got somebody that had to process their papers, somebody that has to monitor their taxes. Figure it out and get somebody that ain't known in the community to represent your organization and go to the council and make your objections. Like, y'all gotta, put boots on the ground. In the words of Belinda Queen, and the brother stole her language and made a whole song. You gotta figure out how to play the game, because being nice to these people is not gonna get you where you need to be.
This is
not
a
like
lot
that
of
kind
money.
of being nice.
This is a lot of money. $9 million. It's a lot of money, y'all.
I'm still not understanding if it's. I know that the annual. I think the annual reserve is up to $10 million a year. So this means that they're going to get this money for 26. It said 2025 to 27.
25 through 27.
So they're going to get it for 2 years.
2.5 years. Because it's going to be dispersed in June, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll get it but it'll end June 2027, so 2 years.
Right.
Okay.
So my thing is just, I just don't understand based on what criteria did they decide to do this? Again, as what's Latasha Carpenter's initials? I forget.
YGT.
And she said there's got to be structure, and we were moving towards that. But we need an office of nonprofits. We need all nonprofit money to go into one bucket with one staff, one system. Neutralize it.
Right.
It could be even part of audits and investigation. If they don't want to set up, because Rashawn Baker wanted to do a whole separate office, and it was objected to. So my thing is, put it with audits and investigations and let them just do everything. Expand their staff, and you got money coming in, you got RFPs going out, and
I think it needs to be like an IG office. It needs to be separate. So is audits and are they separate?
Yeah, it's a separate office. I mean, they're still overseen by internal people, but they got the law breathing down their neck. So I think they try to do things, but it just needs to money just should not be part of the budget. It shouldn't be part of the county executive's budget. It shouldn't be part of the council's budget. Even if it needs to go did Sherman leave? Are we still streaming? Did he leave? He left?
I don't know. But did he leave? I think he may have had to go because it's almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we still live.
Oh, we must have lost him. Yeah, I'm getting tired.
Okay, let's say good night.
No,
okay.
My Zoom cut off. But yeah, we're gonna say good night because y'all ran over your time.
Well, it was a very spirited conversation.
It was. I'm teasing. But before we close out, I do want to play something from the meeting with the project charges.
And I'm gonna make mine really quick. I just want to state an observation. I would say this: Audits are usually put forth.
Oh, this is
when you
not what
have
I was looking
actual
for.
rules
It was
and
the part when she was talking about
It's great.
to
Like safety.
go ahead
Colleagues,
and
please
I
return
have
to
to
your.
find it, but go ahead.
Hmm.
I said I have to find it. It was really about the part when she was talking about how tragic it was when funds was taken away from her, from organization that was promised to them.
Yeah, I'd still say, well, if they got approval letters, I just don't understand this. And basically it sets a precedent. So let's say the new chair comes in, a new chair comes in December. Then hey, the heck with what he's committed. They can just come in and say, "Hey, we're going a different direction,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
change it up again.
Well, everybody, we so appreciate you for hanging in with us this long. We hope that we have provided you with some information that makes you think, that makes you have more questions, and hopefully that you'll reach out to your council member so that something like this won't happen again. Because no matter on which side of the fence you're on, one thing Delegate Diana Fennell told me when I first started working with her, and I was asking about why don't we do certain things or implement certain policies, stuff like that. And what she said was, be careful and remember that the same thing, that legislation that you create for somebody else, they'll use that same legislation on you. So right now, really, it's speaking on in two terms. One, because they are really what they're doing is giving back that same energy that they received essentially, but what they're doing isn't the same, in a sense, as though they are OD with it. It's
Steroids.
it's they went to the extreme
Yeah.
of what they could do, and that's the problem that I have, because I don't care about them giving a few $1,000s to some of the organizations, even if it's their first organization. But $510,000, well, not even
Right.
510, in total $2.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's a lot.
And when your bills ain't paid, when we're sitting in a deficit, that's the part that gets me.
Yeah.
You're diverting.
And while you partying in Las Vegas, I can't wait to see that report on all the great retail and restaurants they bringing back from
Yes,
Las
and District
Vegas.
6 has a very large area where they have the opportunity to build. So I look forward to see what they're going to put in place at Six Flags. But again, Cat Chat, thank you all so much for joining us. We will be back with you all in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. And in the meantime,
yeah, I'm real quick. I do want to thank the OIG office for the investigation. I do want to thank you for your work, and
yes.
to let you know, we better not hear about any threats to that office from people on the council because they did their job. We're just telling y'all.
All right, y'all. Good night.